This story follows a dragon who mistakes a priest for a princess and becomes attracted to him.
A magnificent dragon seeks treasure while a beautiful yellow-haired priest attempts to escape a corrupt church.
A sudden clang and thunk sound as the black dragon hammers away.
The black dragon dreams of a golden castle while the yellow-haired man writes.
The yellow-haired man embraces the black-haired man on a bed of roses.
A jingle and clink sound as the dragon shakes gold from the yellow-haired man.
The yellow-haired man reclines elegantly as the black dragon looms behind him.
A grand white castle stands tall amidst lush greenery and blossoms.
A pink-haired princess prays and weeps for the safety of her kingdom.
The man with the crown pounds the ground and asks the dragon why he is targeting his lovely daughter.
A decorative letter announces that the dragon will take the princess and demands 10 tons of gold.
A frantic voice exclaims that collecting 10 tons of gold in 10 years is impossible for the subjects.
On the castle walls, the subjects weep over the difficult life of their princess.
10 years later, a swoosh sounds as the black dragon finally arrives as foretold.
The massive black dragon circles the towers of the castle. A jingle and bling sound as a sparkling yellow-haired man waves from the balcony.
Pale roses bloom quietly beneath the high stone battlements.
The black dragon is struck with shock as hearts appear around his head.
A loud swoosh sounds as the dragon flies past the crying pink-haired girl.
The black dragon reaches down and grabs the yellow-haired man instead of the bro.
The pink-haired girl watches in utter bewilderment as the dragon flies away.
A paper drifts down while the dragon carries the man toward the horizon.
The pink-haired girl throws the letter in a rage while the king laughs about saving his money.
The black dragon lands gracefully within a dense evergreen forest. The yellow-haired man winces in pain and asks to be put down.
A tisk sounds as the dragon drops him, but the man demands to be placed on a bed instead of gold.
The yellow-haired man sits down on the straw, relieved to be on the ground.
The black dragon thinks to himself that the man is shiny and a pleasure to the eye.
The yellow-haired man asks if the dragon is captivated by his beauty.
The dragon tells the man to wait for a night, but the man admits he sent the fighters away long ago. A frustrated voice declares that he cannot stand the trashy church or being a priest anymore.
The grand temple stands tall under a clear blue sky.
The brown-haired man tells the woman in the blue dress he must speak with the archbishop alone.
The yellow-haired man stands in a holy light and invites someone to confess their sins.
A man confesses to loving both his wife and a mistress while the priest wishes for all couples to die.
A cough sounds as the man expresses guilt and the priest tells him to follow his heart.
The man asks if he is allowed to do that, and the priest assures him the Lord will guide him.
The brown-haired man waves goodbye and leaves happily, while the woman wonders why he is so joyful.
The woman in the blue dress sighs and remarks that her life has become dull lately.
The priest suggests she go home 20 minutes after heading out tonight for a more lively house. The priest announces that the marriage has officially ended while the man begs and the woman weeps.
A heavy thud sounding as the gray-haired man asks how they dare end a sacred marriage.
The priest shrugs and says the woman won't forgive him, leading the gray-haired man to appoint him as a messenger.
An order is given for someone to come bathe and dress the new holy messenger.
A sudden boom sounds as the yellow-haired man screams in protest.
As the holy messenger, he is monitored in the shower and forced to eat only flower petals.
The yellow-haired man weeps, realizing he cannot leave the temple or see the sun for a lifetime.
He shivers with fear at the thought of being burned and asks for a final farewell to the sun. Hooded guards with glowing red eyes stand watch in the hallway. Quick footsteps go tock-tock as the man walks up the stairs to the tower.
Stretching in the bright sun, the yellow-haired man hopes his shining hair and jewelry will finally catch the dragon's eye. A sudden, powerful swoosh sounds as the black dragon dives from the clouds toward the waving yellow-haired man.
While the dragon carries him away, the hooded guards decide it is best to simply return and report the incident.
After escaping the sanctuary, the yellow-haired man happily feasts on meat, finally free from his restricted life.
As the dragon roasts meat, he wonders why no knights have come, while the priest plots to find a handsome partner.
A loud jingle and clang sound as the dragon shakes the man over a massive pile of gold. Behind the scenes, the editor and author discuss how the priest is proud of himself while the princess remains furious. Years ago, the young yellow-haired boy gently potted the dragon's nose and affectionately called him Mr. Long.
The dragon's massive amber eye snaps open as he wakes from his long slumber.
Delighted that Mr. Long is finally awake, the boy wonders how much time has passed since they last spoke. The small boy climbs onto the dragon's dark scales, eager to play with his massive friend. A deep roar echoes through the cavern as the dragon stretches his wings while the boy holds on tight. Looking down at the tiny human, the dragon asks if the boy is not afraid of such a powerful creature. The young boy gazes up with admiration and tells Mr. Long that he finds him truly handsome.
Flattered by the rare compliment, the dragon listens as the boy points out that his massive hoard makes him rich.
The boy asks if the dragon knows the famous legends of brave heroes fighting against evil dragons.
Unfamiliar with human stories, the dragon asks if the dragon in the tale is actually well known.
After hearing about a dragon's defeat, the dragon scoffs at the useless creature and suggests a better way to get gold. The boy asks if he plans to take the princess, worried that she is too young and helpless to be taken. To give people time to prepare, the boy suggests kidnapping the princess in 10 years, and the dragon agrees.
In the present, the dragon stares at the yellow-haired man, sensing a strange and lingering familiarity about him.
The yellow-haired man asks Mr. Long to move over so he can sleep on the straw bed instead of the floor.
Frustrated and annoyed, the black dragon refuses to give up his own bed for a mere human. When told to sleep on the floor, the man expresses his disgust at the messy ground covered in old bones. The yellow-haired man turns with a graceful, sparkling look, using his beauty to win the dragon's favor.
The dragon stares back, completely baffled by the human's sudden change in demeanor and strange behavior.
Claiming that princesses are fragile, the man warns that he might die in the night without proper rest.
A sudden boom sounds as the dragon panics, fearing the king won't pay any gold if his captive dies.
The man slyly suggests that such a powerful dragon shouldn't even need a bed to be comfortable.
Light gathers as the dragon transforms into a tall, muscular human man wearing ornate gold jewelry.
The priest is stunned to see the dragon's handsome human form, while the man mocks the fragility of humans. Looming over him, the handsome man tells the priest to sleep well and not die, mesmerizing him. Staring at the muscular stranger, the yellow-haired man realizes he has finally found the man of his dreams.
Without hesitation, the man happily lies down on the straw next to the dragon's human form.
The dragon complains about the lack of space as the yellow-haired man snuggles closer to him.
Throughout the night, the man keeps shifting away while the stubborn priest continues to crowd his personal space.
The handsome man accidentally rolls off the bed area, leaving the priest looking surprised and wide-eyed.
Snarling with rage, the man demands to know if the space he already provided wasn't enough.
Trembling and hugging himself, the yellow-haired man tearfully complains that he is cold and has no blanket.
The man sighs and rubs his head, exasperated by how incredibly bothersome human beings can be.
To keep him quiet, the man builds a small fire and orders the priest to sleep beside it.
The yellow-haired man lies down on his side, looking dejected and annoyed by the dragon's lack of care.
Curled up on the straw, the man weeps quietly, feeling unloved and neglected in the cold cave.
Outside the cave, a sudden heavy boom sounds as a cloud of dust and debris fills the air. A trembling red-haired knight draws his sword and demands that the dragon return the divine master immediately.
Sitting up, the handsome man expresses confusion, insisting that he only caught the princess, not a divine master. The knight stammers in fear, asking if the man before him is merely the dragon's human spokesman.
A loud swoosh sounds as the man transforms back into a massive dragon, leaving the terrified knight speechless. The dragon laments catching a fake princess, while the man insists he is obedient and easy to take care of.
Losing his patience, the black dragon roars at the yellow-haired man and orders him to get out immediately.
The yellow-haired man asks Mr. Long if he can stay if he helps build an incomparable castle, but the dragon calls him a liar and refuses to trust him again.
The man promises to show him something brighter than gold or jewels, while the dragon wonders curiously what he is drawing.
The man describes a castle with gold walls filled with precious stones, a crystal basement for fruit, and a massive bed designed for the dragon's body.
Impressed by the brightness of the finished painting, the dragon watches as the man realizes his companion simply loves shiny things. While the dragon plans to release him once the castle is finished, the man plots to draw more furniture to ensure he can stay forever.
A luxurious bed for a dragon. The yellow-haired man explains that the massive frame must be made of obsidian to support the weight of a heavy dragon body.
He suggests coating the obsidian in thick gold and engraving beautiful patterns to better match the dragon's noble temperament.
The priest presents himself elegantly, promising soft silk fabrics and gold-threaded quilts to accompany the dragon into sweet dreams.
The black dragon flies off to search for materials while the man waves and lies about not running away. 10 years ago, at the temple, the black dragon sleeps on cold.
The yellow-haired man expresses shock and horror, wondering where a knight could have come from since they were only supposed to fight for the princess. Holding a portrait, the red-haired knight reveals that the dragon caught the Lord of Ivor, the great new holy apostle, instead of the princess.
Ivor admires his own portrait. Furious to learn he caught a fake princess, the black dragon glares at the sweating yellow-haired man.
Desperate to avoid returning, the man screams that he cannot go back and tries to convince the knight he has the wrong person.
The dragon orders him to leave since staying is useless, but the confused knight asks Lord Ivor why he is waiting.
Weeping dramatically, the man claims the dragon has defiled his body, making it impossible for him to remain a holy messenger. Ivor imagines snuggling with the human dragon.
A rhythmic clang sounds as the dragon hammers bolt. The sparkling gold bed is finished.
Stunned that the bed took only 4 hours, the man listens as the dragon boasts he can do it in only 1 hour next time. Gritting his teeth in frustration, the man realizes he won't be needed soon and becomes determined not to return to the church.
The apostle title is a trap.
Priests surround the golden-haired man.
Forbidden from having freedom, privacy, or rights, he is forced to keep his body beautiful for the eyes of the priests and believers.
He explains that while others can bribe their way out or leave with powerful men, he had no such support to escape the church. Lacking money and influence, he recounts how he was forced to become a candidate for the position of holy apostle. He sits by the water, narrating that the church eventually hired knights to bring him back to fulfill his religious duties.
Offering a massage to the hardworking dragon, the man plans to remain unfaithful to ensure the church has no reason to take him back.
The dragon lifts the man. The dragon lies down comfortably, but the man tells Mr. Long he must change back to a human form before he can receive a massage. The dragon snarls that he made the bed massive specifically so he would never have to turn into a human just to sleep.
Dismissing the priest, the dragon points to a pile of hay and tells the man to sleep there instead of the bed.
Ivor wonders about the dragon's interests.
He fears finding another man.
Ivor studies a dragon heart. Behind the scenes, the creators argue about making the dragon more human, while the characters refuse to cooperate with the script. Pointing toward a distant hill, the man tells the dragon to build the castle there while they fly at high speed.
A heavy thud sounds as the dragon lands.
The man steps onto the grass.
A long sigh sounds as the yellow-haired man expresses how tired he is after choosing a building site all day.
A dragon's claw reaches out.
Handing over a scroll, the man says he must rest or he will die of exhaustion, but the dragon tells him to stay out of it.
The man turns around happily, certain the dragon cannot build a proper castle without his specific commands and guidance.
A quick spin sounds as the man plans a shopping trip to the nearby market before news of his arrest spreads.
Standing in the town square, the yellow-haired man declares that the first thing he must do is change out of his priest uniform. A quick jingle sounds as the door opens.
The salmon-haired shopkeeper welcomes his guest, offering a variety of designs and mentioning that he also supports custom tailoring.
Pointing to various items, the yellow-haired man tells the tailor to wrap everything up, making the salmon-haired shopkeeper cheer with excitement.
The yellow-haired man stands thoughtfully before a mannequin draped in a simple, flowing white gown.
When the yellow-haired man asks for help attaching jewels to his shirt, the shopkeeper declines, mentioning that they have been understaffed lately.
A sudden, sharp snap sounds as the yellow-haired man tosses a heavy bag of gold onto the counter, prompting the shopkeeper to immediately offer urgent assistance.
Standing before the massive stone foundation of a new castle, the yellow-haired man breathes out a soft, amazed whoa.
The black dragon stands nearby and tells him to check if the foundation was built correctly.
Stunned by the incredible detail of the construction, the yellow-haired man is interrupted when the dragon asks about his new change of clothes.
The yellow-haired man praises the dragon as the greatest architect he has ever seen, leaving the creature feeling slightly awkward.
While the dragon demands to find meat since he hasn't eaten, the yellow-haired man reflects on how diligent his companion is while wondering if he mined all the gold himself. As they soar through the sky, the yellow-haired man suggests visiting a human market for delicious food, punctuating his point with a rhythmic series of tops. The dragon scoffs at human fussiness, but the yellow-haired man insists that people would be happy to host him if he took his handsome human form.
Transformed back into his muscular human form, the black-haired man points at a bakery stall and demands to have every single item.
When the baker insists that he must pay first, the black-haired man becomes visibly irritated and asks if his order wasn't clear enough.
The yellow-haired man quickly intervenes, gently pulling the aggressive dragon back from the startled shopkeeper.
To settle the bill, the yellow-haired man hands over pieces of gold, leaving the shopkeeper satisfied while the dragon fumes over his treasure being spent.
People in the crowd begin to whisper and take notice of the strikingly handsome man in ornate gold jewelry.
Suddenly swarmed by a crowd of eager merchants, the two men are overwhelmed as sellers offer everything from dragon slayer swords to resurrection potions. Terrified and breathless, the yellow-haired man grabs his companion and shouts for them to run away from the frantic mob.
A heavy sigh sounds as the yellow-haired man leans against a wall, exhausted, while the black-haired man eats his bread and complains about the cost. After introducing himself as Ivor, the yellow-haired man asks for his friend's name, only for the dragon to scoff and declare his own name, Long, is superior.
The scene shifts to the dark, quiet entrance of the dragon's mountain cavern.
Ivor is annoyed to find that Long has already changed back into his massive dragon form and is lying down on his gold.
Looking at the dragon's half-closed eye, Ivor wonders aloud if his massive friend is already asleep.
Dressed in his finest ornate robes and jewelry, Ivor lies back among flowers and asks the dragon to chat with him.
The dragon remains perfectly still and silent, ignoring the human's plea for conversation.
Pointing toward a distant hill, the yellow-haired man declares it the perfect spot to build the new castle.
A loud, rushing whoosh sounds as the black dragon flies through the air at high speed, surprising Ivor with his swiftness.
A sudden, firm poke sounds as a massive dragon claw touches Ivor's shoulder.
Ivor complains that he needs to rest or he will die of overwork, but the dragon tells him to simply sit on the side and stay out of the way.
The yellow-haired man turns around with a smirk, confident that the dragon cannot possibly finish the complex castle without his guidance.
Walking through a lush forest, Ivor swings a bag of gold and notes that more villages are nearby for future shopping trips.
Looking down at the bustling town square, Ivor plans to do as much shopping as possible before news of his kidnapping spreads.
A dull, heavy thud sounds as Ivor tosses a bag of gold onto a table, prompting a worker to promise the job will be done immediately.
Arriving back at the castle site, Ivor is once again mesmerized by the sparkling, golden brilliance of the completed structure.
The dragon demands he check the foundation for errors, but then pauses to ask Ivor why he changed his clothes again.
Returning to the market in human form, the black-haired man demands to buy every single item at the stall.
The baker timidly asks the muscular stranger to pay first, which only makes the arrogant man growl in frustration.
Ivor cheerfully steps in to pay for all the bread, much to the dragon's annoyance as he watches his gold pieces being handed away. Bystanders in the square begin to stare and point at the two newcomers, marking them as targets for their attention.
After introductory names are exchanged, Long insists that his simple name is the best name in existence.
While the dragon watches, Ivor frantically gnaws on a piece of jewelry, distressed that the gems are falling off his new outfit.
The dragon narrows his eyes and accuses Ivor of taking his gold and gems, leaving the man looking incredibly guilty.
Moving close in, Ivor sniffs the dragon's neck and complains that the creature is too big to talk to in his current form.
After discovering the tailor merely glued the stones on to cut corners, Ivor is furious, while the dragon simply tells him to go to sleep. A sudden sharp perk sounds as the dragon's ear twitches, sensing a small movement nearby.
Thinking the dragon is asleep, Ivor slowly and carefully crawls onto his massive friend's back.
A repetitive, soft scratch sounds as Ivor rubs the dragon's scales, asking to lie there because his friend's back is so wide. Ivor reaches out and gently places his hand on the dragon's snout in a tender moment of affection.
Losing his temper, the black dragon lets out an angry snarl and begins to yell at the bothersome human.
Ivor holds out his hand and jokes that there will be no more updates if he doesn't receive enough likes.
A massive explosion erupts as a loud boom sounds. Ivor falls rapidly as a rushing swish sounds.
Long catches the blonde man as a firm catch sounds.
Long holds Ivor tenderly amidst blooming pink roses. Ivor leans in as a soft smooch sounds. A sharp smack sounds as Long throws Ivor away.
Long rejects the human, stating he only mates with dragons.
A knight bursts in, demanding Ivor's immediate return. Long grumbles about Ivor's bothersome, clingy nature.
The knight's shock halts his attempt at rescue. Ivor looms over the trembling knight with a smirk.
The knight suggests a holy water purity trial.
Failed trials result in a grim death sentence. Long dismisses any personal responsibility for the trial.
Ivor turns away in a fit of frustration.
Ivor's hands clasp the knight's hands in desperation.
Ivor begs the knight to take him away.
They celebrate their secret plan to run away.
Long watches the pair with a suspicious glare.
Ivor and the knight skip away together happily. A sudden, firm grab sounds as Long stops them.
A heavy pull sounds as Long claims the man. The knight protests the dragon's forceful intervention.
Long asserts his right to keep what he snatched.
Long kicks the intruder out of the area.
Ivor teases Long's apparent reluctance to part ways.
Long uses the unfinished castle as his excuse.
Behind the scenes, the editor suggests an adjustment.
The author contemplates a less brutal perspective. Creators worry about the dragon's temperamental nature.
Ivor relaxes beside the giant resting dragon.
Long studies the new castle's blueprints in Tenery.
Ivor admires his companion's tireless work ethic. A contemplative blonde man rests his chin thoughtfully.
Ivor offers a market trip for some fruit.
Long grumbles about the high cost of bread.
Ivor highlights the variety of delicious human food.
Long weighs gold against his own anger.
Ivor grabs a coin and skips away joyfully. Long realizes he has not made a decision. Townsfolk gather around a busy public notice board.
Ivor walks through the town square in the skies.
A massive bounty map is posted for Ivor. Ivor realizes his hidden location has been compromised.
An armored warrior prays for a worthy opponent.
The knight reveals his truly desperate, jobless state.
A priest assigns a perilously long journey.
A quick snap sounds as the knight celebrates.
Ivor worries about his friend's short fuse. A gentle rustle sounds near the force Kutmik.
The black-haired man munches on bread, but notes it is less satisfying than meat. Ivor explains he bought sugary cakes and biscuits this time so his companion won't get hungry as quickly. When the black-haired man asks why he isn't eating, the yellow-haired man looks away, deeply distracted by his own misery. In a fit of teary desperation, Ivor begs the dragon to end his life rather than send him back to the church. The black-haired man is taken aback, confused by his friend's intense refusal to return to his former home.
While sharing a picnic, Ivor explains that a massive bounty has been posted to bring him back as a holy apostle, leaving the dragon wondering what that title means.
A description explains the horrific reality of being a holy apostle, involving imprisonment, brainwashing, and strict celibacy.
Ivor weeps as he describes the endless unpaid labor required by the church, leaving the dragon shocked by such human extortion.
Ivor reflects on how his kidnapping actually saved him, opening his eyes to a far more wonderful life.
Ivor confesses his deep love for his companion, though the black-haired man remains skeptical of such sudden praise. Ivor further justifies his affection by listing the dragon's magnificent traits, especially his incredible wealth.
Hanging onto his arm, the yellow-haired man continues to shower the creature with compliments about his magnificent nature.
A series of soft, happy chuckles sound as the black-haired man blushes, clearly flattered by the human's admiration.
A sudden firm grab sounds as Ivor takes the dragon's hands, swearing he would rather die than leave his side.
As Ivor continues to sob about his loyalty, the black-haired man grumbles and asks why he ever thought he was hated. Ivor warns that many warriors will hunt them for the bounty, but the dragon stands tall and declares no one can scratch him. Ivor cheers with joy, hugging his friend and praising his kindness despite the dragon's grumpy expression. A comparison of their characters highlights the priest's many vices against the dragon's few sins.
Paradoxically, a second chart shows the dragon possessing numerous virtues while the priest has none.
A wanted poster confirms a massive reward for anyone who can rescue Father Ivor from the dragon's forest.
Tiny warriors are sent flying away from the dragon's cave, shouting promises to return as they retreat. The completed castle stands in the sunlight, a breathtaking palace of white stone and golden spires. A soft, relaxed sigh sounds as Ivor lounges among flowers and grapes, enjoying a life of ease under the dragon's protection.
A repetitive, wet splatter sounds as the massive black dragon uses a tiny watering can to maintain the garden, complaining about the work.
A rhythmic series of soft, amused chuckles sound as Ivor enjoys reading his questionable books in the open air.
Looking at a tied-up lamb, the dragon worries about roasting it inside and ruining his clean floors.
A series of heavy, echoing steps sound as the dragon leaves muddy footprints on the stairs, grumbling about the pain of mopping. A massive explosion erupts as the black-haired man bursts into the room, shouting about how hard it is to maintain the house. A quick, dry flip sounds as Ivor continues reading his book, barely looking up when his companion approaches. Pointing a finger, the black-haired man declares that freeloaders aren't welcome and Ivor must start working. Ivor freezes in place, his expression becoming rigid as he realizes his days of relaxation are over.
Now dressed in a maid outfit, Ivor is forced to water the flowers daily under the dragon's strict supervision. Overwhelmed by chores, the yellow-haired man scrambles to mop, dust, and wash dishes all at once.
A repetitive, heavy twist sounds as Ivor roasts a massive piece of meat over a fire while the dragon relaxes nearby. The sun hangs low in the pink-tinged sky as evening approaches.
The result of Ivor's labor is a charred, smoking hunk of meat that looks completely unappetizing.
A repetitive, wet munch sounds as the black-haired man eats the burnt meat anyway, telling Ivor he needs much more practice. Collapsed on the ground, Ivor's stomach lets out a loud growl as he wonders how anyone could eat such burnt food. Ivor bites down on the meat in a fit of rage while the dragon waves him off, telling him to clean up and find his own fruit.
A sudden, sickly retch sounds as Ivor vomits rainbows, completely disgusted by his own cooking.
The dragon finds a letter on a perfectly made bed, noting how unusually diligent Ivor was being.
The letter explains that Ivor has run away to find a husband because he is lonely and hates the work.
A sudden, sharp whoosh sounds as the black-haired man leaps out a window, determined to bring back his runaway human. A quick, hollow knock sounds as a hungry, brown-haired man asks for any kind of work at a nearby door. The man is met with a sharp rejection, leaving him shocked and still jobless. A low, rumbling growl sounds from the man's stomach as he sits in the street, fearing he will starve to death. Dressed in a white hood, Ivor appears and offers the man a job on behalf of his stingy boss.
The brown-haired man stares in awe, wondering if the beautiful priest is actually a divine hallucination.
Falling to his knees, the man begs to be taken as a worker, while Ivor admires his strong muscles for labor. A series of quick, rhythmic taps sound as the man follows Ivor, promising to keep any secret even if the boss is a monster.
Ivor compares the man's personality to the dragon's. Ivor rejects a kiss after realizing his true feelings.
Finding more help seems necessary to Ivor.
Ivor demands more strong men.
Ivor recruits handsome men for meat. Muscular men strike impressive poses. The new recruits flex their muscles.
Ivor complains they all look identical.
A fan art features a weeping Ivor.
Fans illustrate Ivor as a maid.
Cinderella themes dominate the fan art. A small chibi portrait shows Ivor.
The pair wears regal Egyptian attire.
A maid-clad Ivor manages the household.
A swoosh sounds as Long catches Ivor.
Long declares the runaway human haste.
A sniffle sounds as Ivor celebrates.
The workers arrive at Katassel.
Long demands to know the intruders.
A worker boasts of his gargming.
The men excel at domestic chores.
A confused Long questions their motives.
Ivor claims he is too weak. Ivor suggests hiring the cheap workers.
Ivor offers to work himself to death.
Long accepts under a strict condition.
Long threatens the workers' lives.
A heave sounds as Long carries Ivor. Ivor persists in his romantic balls.
His stomach churns from overeating.
Long admires his rare jewel collection.
Ivor watches Long's human form Klesri. Ivor claims he is deeply touched. Ivor thanks Long for his kindness.
Ivor offers himself to the dragon.
Long brings up Ivor's past escapes. Ivor confesses his absolute first love.
Long insists their different species is impossible. Long rolls away to avoid questions.
The dragon remains silent and thoughtful.
Ivor calls the dragon a coward.
Long reacts indignantly to Biensel.
Ivor laments his unrequited feelings.
Long denies ever hating the human.
A reach sounds as Long comforts Ivor.
Long admits he worries about Ivor.
Ivor is stunned by the confession. Authors explain the locked future chapters.
The creators request reader support.
The authors share their social media. Ivor asks the black-haired man if he truly does not dislike him.
The black-haired man remains silent, blushing as he looks away.
Determined, the yellow-haired man presses his hand against his companion's arm.
Ivor boldly suggests taking the lead while sitting on the dragon's lap.
The black-haired man reacts with visible indignation and embarrassment.
A sudden, loud bam sounds as Ivor is thrown out of the room.
Ivor contemplates a plan to maintain his purity while with the dragon.
Sitting outside the locked door, Ivor wonders if he should compromise on their roles.
Muscle-bound men follow Ivor through town, carrying heavy stacks of books. Deep in a cave, the massive black dragon continues mining for precious gems.
Peace returns as various workers perform domestic chores around the castle.
A heavy metallic clang sounds as a bag of gems is dropped on the table.
A brilliant red ruby sparkles as it is held up for inspection.
The black-haired man admires his find, noting it is his best in years.
Long wonders where his friend is, knowing Ivor has a passion for gems. Studying ancient texts, Ivor devises a way to neutralize the dragon's magical influence.
Ivor lets out a heavy, weary sigh as he weighs the risks to his health. The yellow-haired man is startled when his companion calls out for him.
Ivor walks toward the door, listening to the approach of the black-haired man.
A sudden, heavy bam sounds as Long bursts into the room with his noose, accidentally hitting Ivor.
A moment of awkward silence follows as the two men stare at one another.
Long boasts of his vibrant ruby, but Ivor remains focused on his research.
The black-haired man insists Ivor look at the jewel before the chance is gone.
Ivor feigns intense excitement to appease the dragon's desire for praise.
Feeling smug, the black-haired man prepares to show off his magnificent treasure.
The large ruby glows with a mysterious, intricate pattern on the table.
A quick, sharp swoosh sounds as Ivor suddenly maneuvers past his companion.
The black-haired man stands frozen in shock by the sudden movement. Ivor frantically identifies the stone as a rare magical item that grants skills.
Ivar asks if he can keep the stone for a few days for closer study. The black-haired man raises a suspicious eyebrow at the yellow-haired man's request.
A sudden sharp snap sounds as Long slams a book shut on the desk. Long demands to know the real reason behind Ivar's sudden obsession with magic.
Ivar panics internally, fearing his friend has completely misinterpreted his intentions.
Ivar realizes how impossible it would be to explain his true romantic goals.
Ivar claims he wants to avoid being a burden during future church attacks.
Long questions Ivar's faith in his strength, but Ivar insists on learning self-defense.
The dragon remains skeptical, suspecting Ivar still plans to run away eventually.
Long leaves the room, stating that their two species cannot remain together forever.
Pacing the room, Chibi Long worries about the gems Ivar hasn't returned.
The black-haired man fears his friend is now only interested in his wealth. Long's anxiety peaks as he wonders if Ivar found someone else to love. The dragon becomes distressed, suspecting Ivar is trying to steal his precious hoard.
Long bangs on the door, fearing Ivar has escaped through the window.
A soft, rhythmic snore sounds as Ivar sleeps peacefully over his books. Ivar dreams of using magic to become independent of the dragon's protection. A sudden wet swoosh sounds as Ivar transforms into a yellow slime.
A sentient book explains that Ivar's weak human body has been permanently destroyed.
A loud, splintering kick sounds as the dragon bursts into Ivar's room. Long stops abruptly, surprised to see Ivar has not actually fled.
Long gazes at Ivar, noting he is sleeping too soundly to be woken by any noise.
A soft, quick nudge sounds as the black-haired man tells his companion to wake up.
Ivar remains deeply unconscious, his heavy, labored breathing echoing through the quiet room.
A firm, sharp pull sounds as the black-haired man attempts to rouse Ivar from his deep slumber.
Touching the human's face, Long wonders how a human can have such a high fever and worries he is sick. Deciding the human's temperature is too high, the black-haired man carries him toward cold water.
Ivar's eyes flutter open as the dragon acknowledges that he has finally woken up.
The black-haired man holds his companion close, his expression filled with unspoken concern.
Flushed and dazed, the yellow-haired man looks up with a hazy, unfocused gaze.
A rhythmic, heavy lift sounds as the dragon adjusts his hold on the feverish human.
To Long's absolute shock, Ivar suddenly pulls him into a desperate, fever-driven kiss.
The yellow-haired man remains unsteady, his movements clumsy as the fever takes hold.
Ivar continues his advances, leaving the black-haired man flustered and breathing heavily.
The dragon looks away in embarrassment as the yellow-haired man leans in once more. Ivar's expression turns sorrowful, his eyes shining with a sense of deep longing.
A heavy, repetitive ba-thump sounds as Long struggles to calm his racing heart.
A gentle, quick lift sounds as the black-haired man raises Ivar's chin to look at him. Telling himself to sober up, the dragon finally yields and returns the passionate kiss. A series of wet, soft chew sounds follow as the two men lose themselves in the moment.
The pair tumbles to the ground as their intense embrace continues. A heavy, rhythmic ba-thump sounds while the two men share a lingering kiss.
A quick, soft pat sounds as Ivar clings tightly to the black-haired man's neck.
Chibi Long holds the dazed, dizzy human, appearing completely overwhelmed by what just happened.
A gentle, soft pat sounds as the dragon checks on his now quiet companion. Letting out a tired huff, Ivar requests sleep as Long notes the human's fever has finally broken.
A soft, muffled put-down sounds as the black-haired man carefully places Ivar onto the bed. A rustle sounds as Long covers the sleeping yellow-haired man with a warm blanket.
Looking at the scattered books, the dragon wonders what Ivar was doing to fall ill so suddenly. A soft, quick pickup sounds as the black-haired man reaches for Ivar's private notebook. Long reads Ivar's notes about using magic stones and dragon essence to lose his virginity.
Stunned, the black-haired man questions if Ivar went through all this effort just to seduce him.
Looking at the sleeping human, Long realizes Ivar consumed magic stones to strengthen his body.
A repetitive, dry flip sounds as the dragon continues reading the human's secret research.
Ivar's notes reveal a plan to practice magic and eventually defeat his enemies.
The journal details plans to sell gems, raise an army, and overthrow the church hierarchy.
Ivar's ultimate dream involves ascending the throne and surrounding himself with a harem of lovers.
A sharp, loud snap sounds as the dragon slams the book shut, furious at the human's greed.
Long concludes that humans are fundamentally lustful creatures who can never be satisfied with one life.
A series of hollow knocks sound as the brown-haired worker arrives to deliver Ivar's dinner.
A sudden, sharp gasp sounds as the worker is terrified to find the dragon answering the door.
Nervous, the brown-haired man attempts to greet the dragon while offering the tray of food. A quick, dry take sounds as Long informs the worker that Ivar is currently resting. A soft, rhythmic scratch sounds as the worker wonders if Ivar pulled another all-nighter.
A firm, heavy clap sounds as Long sets the tray down, deciding to release the human soon.
Turning his head, the black-haired man lets out a soft, questioning sound.
Long glances back toward the bed as he senses his companion waking up.
Sitting up, the yellow-haired man calls out to the dragon in a quiet, groggy voice.
A sharp metallic clench sounds as the dragon grips the glass of milk tightly.
Passing the glass over, Long tells Ivor to drink the goat's milk while the human thanks him.
A series of quick glugs sound as Ivor drinks the milk, noting the dragon's strange behavior.
The black-haired man remains silent, wondering if the human is simply feeling shy.
Handing over a glass of goat's milk, Long listens as Ivor asks what is troubling him. Looking serious, the black-haired man offers to grant Ivor one wish as a reward for his services.
Ivor is left completely stunned when Long adds that he will be free to leave afterward. A series of soft shakes and sharp cracks sound as a dragon egg begins to hatch.
A final sharp croak sounds as a small, purple-winged dragon emerges from its shell.
A soft, low grunt and a heavy rumble sound as the hatchling sits up in its nest.
The curious young dragon wanders out of its cave and onto a sunlit forest path.
A soft, quick sniff sounds as the small creature investigates the nearby bushes.
The young dragon tries to eat some grass, finding it difficult to chew and swallow.
Disgusted by the taste of the greenery, the creature quickly spits it back out.
The small dragon is startled by a sudden movement in the surrounding foliage.
A sudden, loud swoosh sounds as an old man with glowing eyes appears from behind the trees.
The man and the hatchling stare at one another in a moment of quiet surprise.
A soft, gentle rub sounds as the dragon affectionately leans into the stranger's hand.
The man, James, decides to take the lonely creature home since it has no parents.
James hopes that he can eventually teach the intelligent creature how to speak.
Years later, a series of dry, heavy coughs sound as an ailing James sends his friend away.
The dragon waits faithfully by the window, growing increasingly worried about the man's long absence. A series of quick, airy swooshes sound as the dragon frantically searches the forest for James.
Hidden in the shadows, the dragon overhears two men discussing how Knight James has passed away.
The dragon gazes mournfully at the face of his deceased friend before he is buried. A series of fast, rhythmic digs sound as the dragon desperately uncovers the grave. A soft, wet drip sounds as the dragon weeps, telling James he has finally finished his books.
Overcome with grief and rage, the creature lets out a roar amidst the forest fire. Panic spreads through the nearby town as people flee from the fire-breathing monster.
A sudden, loud bam sounds as cruel humans throw heavy stones at the young dragon.
Now a massive adult, the dragon is feared by all as a legendary evil monster.
Long retreats into isolation, convinced that humans are heartless cowards who can never be trusted.
A soft, quick pat sounds as a small child unexpectedly interrupts the dragon's solitary slumber.
Long reflects on how meeting that human child eventually led to his current life with Ivor.
The dragon takes a moment to admire the fine gems and jewelry that adorn his body.
Ivor watches the black-haired man closely, sensing that he might be deeply angry.
Terrified, Ivor wonders if his theft of the magic gems has finally been discovered.
The yellow-haired man feels a glimmer of hope at the prospect of receiving a wish.
Ivor excitedly attempts to request a romantic encounter, but the black-haired man immediately refuses. A soft, gentle stroke sounds as Long reaches out to pat the confused human's head.
Dejected, Ivor sits on the bed and realizes he has made another foolish mistake.
A soft, sharp tisk sounds as the yellow-haired man fumes over his failed plan.
A soft, quick pickup sounds as Ivor decides to write a popular adventure book for profit.
A soft, quick pull sounds as a pink-haired woman works in her sunny vegetable garden.
A maid named Anna arrives with urgent news regarding the dragon's recent kidnapping.
The princess learns that Father Ivor sacrificed his own safety to stay in her place.
The two women imagine the horrible, starving conditions Ivor must be suffering under the dragon.
A soft, sad sob sounds as the women mourn the priest's tragic fate.
The pink-haired woman is deeply moved by the selfless sacrifice the priest made for her.
The princess decides to send a cart of fresh vegetables to the dragon as a token of gratitude.
The scene shifts back to the present as the delivery of produce finally reaches the castle.
Knight Ron delivers the vegetables, which the dragon finds to be an insultingly cheap gift.
The dragon dismisses the messenger, refusing to tell him where he has hidden Father Ivor.
A grand view of the palace towers.
Holding a cabbage, the brown-haired worker tells his companion that the vegetables can last them for a long time.
Watching the workers, a curious Ivor wonders why the dragon brought back so many vegetables since he thought the creature only ate meat.
Letting out a heavy sigh, Ivor admits he doesn't know what is on the dragon's mind, noting that he was caught while running away before but is now being told he is free to leave, and wonders if he has simply been spending too much money lately.
A heavy, rhythmic thump sounds as Ivor accidentally walks into the black-haired man's chest and cries out in pain.
A soft, quick pass sounds as the dragon holds out a bag of coins and tells Ivor that it is for him.
Ivor asks if the dragon is truly sure about giving him his gold, while Long appears pained by the decision to part with his treasure.
A soft, repetitive scratch sounds as the dragon tells Ivor to take the money as a startup fund for his ambition, leaving the human to ask what he means.
A quick, sharp point sounds as Long explains that Ivor wrote down everything he wanted to do in his notes, causing the human to realize he has been discovered. Ivor admits he worked out a story outline but thinks turning it into a picture book is too difficult, noting that the magic stones he consumed only gave him weak water and wind magic for trivial tasks. Long asks what is happening as Ivor suddenly turns around with sparkling eyes and a look of pure excitement.
A soft, gentle lean sounds as Ivor moves closer to the black-haired man to explain that the story is actually something different.
Long asks about the story as Ivor leans in close and reveals that it is actually for him. Ivor admits that he has dreamed of being a best-selling picture book writer since he was a child, but because he belonged to the church, there were many subjects he wasn't allowed to work on.
Ivor says he can draw anything now, but compiling it is too big a task for a human, so he needs help to make his dream come true, while a stunned Long realizes the plans in the notes were just a story outline written for him.
A soft, quick squirm sounds as Ivor affectionately tells the dragon that only he can accomplish those great causes and can be his only hero.
Looking at the book, the dragon asks what specially Ivor wants him to do, realizing that he had completely misunderstood the human's intentions.
The yellow-haired man giggles mischievously.
A firm, sharp press sounds as Ivor leans over the dragon's shoulder and pushes him to begin writing. Looking confused, the black-haired man asks if Ivor really wants him to draw the battles between dragons and humans. Telling the dragon to hold on, Ivor explains that the book is fiction so they don't have to stick to reality, and insists that the dragon must change both his appearance and his name for the story.
A soft, repetitive scratch sounds as the dragon notes that the character in the drawing can't be called Dragon since that is his own name. A gentle, soft bend sounds as Ivor leans close to ask why the dragon doesn't give himself a unique name since there are so many dragons in the world.
The dragon remains silent and thoughtful.
A soft, thoughtful sounds as the scene flashes back to James holding the small dragon.
A quick, sharp look-up sounds as the dragon gazes at Ivor with a serious expression. The yellow-haired man smiles gently. Ivor decides that battle scenes might only interest a few people and that he needs to add more sparkle to the book, while Chibi Talon makes a soft, low sound as he writes under his new name. A sudden, loud slap sounds as Ivor excitedly decides to add erotic scenes to the story. An advertisement for the book titled My Reincarnation as a Dragon invites people to buy the rich content for just 1 silver coin with a buy one, get one free deal. A series of airy wave sounds follow as the workers stand outside and invite passersby to take a look at the books. One woman says she likes the book, while a man comments that the story is amazing and makes him want to be the hero.
A sudden, sharp slap sounds as 2 women make a deal to split the cost of the book and share the freebie.
The workers tell the crowd to line up and announce that group purchases are permitted as people gather around the table.
The scene shifts to the palace.
A series of hollow knocks sound as the worker arrives to deliver dinner to Lord Ivor and the dragon. A quick, sharp open sounds as Ivor tells the worker to come in, who then explains that Eric and the others sold out of all the books and that demand is still high. Ivor is overjoyed by thoughts of gold. A series of quick, light taps sound as a happy Ivor carries the food tray while humming a tune. Ivor watches the sleeping dragon, who makes a soft, low sound as he dreams of taking down the Sarma Church and liberating all mankind. A soft, quick frown sounds as the sleeping black-haired man questions why a dragon should have to be the one to save mankind. A soft, airy breath sounds as Ivor leans in and whispers the name Talon into the sleeping dragon's ear. A soft rub and sit-up sounds.
A soft, gentle laugh sounds as Ivor excitedly tells his companion that their work is so popular he wants to print more and sell it across the country.
The dragon shouts no when Ivor asks for another 1,000 gold coins for printing and hiring costs.
A soft, quick lean-over sounds as Ivor explains that they made 800 silver coins from selling 1,000 books in 7 days, prompting the dragon to ask how many gold coins that is worth.
A heavy, low humph and a soft lie-down sound as the dragon realized they only made 10 gold coins in a week and concludes he should just go mining instead.
A series of soft, quick pot sound as Ivor insists they can make more profit by printing 10,000 more copies and hiring more sellers in other cities.
A sudden, sharp step-back sounds as the dragon demands that Ivor give back his first 100 gold coins before investing any more treasure.
The yellow-haired man explains that the book's purpose is to expose church corruption and generate profit before it is inevitably banned.
A sudden, sharp smack sounds as Ivor realizes that simple picture books may not provide enough financial incentive to persuade the dragon.
Looking determined, Ivor proposes investing 1,000 gold coins into Mr. Burton's flourishing industry to double their capital. Looking skeptical, the black-haired man asks why all humans don't simply live off investments instead of working.
Ivor lets out a soft, heavy sigh as he explains how class inequality locks the poor out of such opportunities, while the dragon asks how long it will take to see a return.
The yellow-haired man confidently declares that it will only take 7 days.
Looking smug, Ivor predicts they will walk away with 2,000 gold coins if their plan succeeds. A soft, quick poof sounds as Ivor hugs the black-haired man and thanks him for the generous investment, causing the dragon to blush and turn away.
The scene shifts to a grand, solemn church hall.
A sudden, sharp smack sounds as the white-haired bishop fumes over news that Ivor is conspiring with the dragon to incite rebellion against the church.
The church officials lament how ungrateful Ivor has become, wondering how he turned so rebellious despite being raised by them.
A soft, heavy thud sounds as the bishop orders a team to locate the dragon's lair and commands the divine sword knight to execute both the creature and the traitorous priest.
When a subordinate asks about the knight's current mission against the Devil King, the bishop reveals that the Devil King is actually a secret ally of the church. Fearing the knight might discover the truth, the bishop decides to bypass him and hire mercenaries from the Devil King instead. A sign for an expensive clothing store hangs on a stone wall. While sipping tea, the yellow-haired man notes that the jewelry in the shop is far too expensive for common people to afford. A soft, quick stir sounds as the pink-haired man explains that the rarity of gems and the time required for processing make the high prices unavoidable.
A soft, sharp crackle sounds as Burton questions the quality of a product, while Ivor suggests it was damaged through his own negligence.
A soft, quick open sounds as Ivor proposes a partnership where he provides the raw gems and the pink-haired man handles the labor.
A soft, quick pickup sounds as Burton inspects a gem through a magnifying glass, noting its decent quality while questioning how Ivor plans to price the final products.
The chibi yellow-haired man ponders the high costs associated with polishing and cutting gemstones.
Burton explains that the combined fees for processing and materials result in prices that are out of reach for ordinary citizens.
Recalling the dragon's vast hoard, Ivor realizes he can use the leftover stones that weren't picked for the collection to create affordable jewelry.
Looking at jewelry sketches, Ivor realizes he must find a way to significantly lower the processing fees.
A soft, quick whoosh sounds as Ivor observes 3 magic stones at his desk, disappointed that they only provide weak magic unsuitable for his needs. A soft, quick catch sounds as the yellow-haired man considers the more powerful but extremely risky blue magic stone in his hand.
Feeling hesitant, the man wonders if taking just one of the potent stones would be safe.
A soft, quick throw sounds as Ivor decides to take the gamble and swallows the magic stone.
A sudden, loud bam sounds as the black-haired man bursts into the room to announce he has found another sapphire.
The black-haired man holds up a gleaming blue sapphire. A soft, repetitive rattle sounds as Ivor's body begins to freeze over from the magic stone's side effects.
Shocked, the black-haired man demands to know why Ivor is freezing.
Terrified, the man catches the unconscious yellow-haired man as ice spreads across his skin. A bright courtyard stands empty and silent. Sunlight filters through an archway decorated with purple flowers. A soft, wet splash sounds as the black-haired man places Ivor into a pool, frantically wondering if he swallowed another stone and trying to melt the ice with his own warmth. The black-haired man realizes he must take drastic action immediately to prevent Ivor from freezing to death. A soft, sharp grit teeth sound follows as the man bites his own lip until it bleeds. Looking at the face of his deceased friend James, the man vows that he will never lose someone he cares about ever again. A soft, sharp cut sounds as the man slices his wrist, deciding that his dragon's blood is the only thing powerful enough to neutralize the stone's magic. A soft, wet splash sounds as the blood enters the water, while a system note warns that dragon blood can violently transform a human by breaking and reshaping their bones. A soft, repetitive rattle sounds as the black-haired man feeds his blood to Ivor through a kiss, focused only on keeping him alive regardless of the pain. Tears stream down the black-haired man's face as he watches Ivor's condition. The man continues to weep while holding his unconscious companion.
A soft, quick hold sounds as the man pulls Ivor into a tight, relieved embrace.
Blushing and confused, the yellow-haired man wakes up in his companion's arms and asks what is happening.
A soft, airy sough sounds as the scene shifts to the dark and foreboding forest of the Devil King.
A series of quick, airy swoosh sounds follow as a knight in silver armor carries a figure with white hair through the woods.
A soft, heavy put-down sounds as the knight leaves his companion in a safe spot, promising to return once he has slain the Devil King. A soft, low howl sounds as a pack of wolves with glowing green eyes surrounds the lone figure in the dark. The knight in silver armor sighs, deciding to wait for the unconscious white-haired man to wake up.
The white-haired man ponders how the church's sacred messenger ended up in the Devil King's clutches. A soft, wet splash sounds as Ivor's body begins to absorb the magic within the pool. A sudden, sharp gasp sounds as Ivor cries out in pain when his companion grabs him. Cradling his companion, the black-haired man realizes that the dragon's blood remaining in the water is causing Ivor's bones to ache.
Chibi Ivor panics at the sensation of falling apart while the black-haired man holds him tight.
A soft, gentle kiss sounds as the black-haired man promises that the pain will heal soon.
A series of soft, sharp crackles sound as Ivor's skin is cleansed and begins to recover.
Ivor lets out a long, relieved sigh as his body finally begins to heal.
A soft, quick push sounds as Ivor complains about the wet clothes while the black-haired man offers to fetch fresh ones.
Ivor prepares to remove his wet garments and asks the man to help wash his aching back.
A deep, sudden blush colors the black-haired man's face. A soft, quick pickup sounds as the flustered man grabs a towel to assist. A soft, repetitive scrub sounds as the man finds Ivor's skin too smooth to truly need washing.
Chibi Ivor scoops up the water, wondering if the transformation process is complete.
Watching the water, Ivor feels moved that the man sacrificed his own precious blood to save his life twice.
Tall trees stand before a range of snowy mountains.
The knight in silver armor urgently demands that his companion wake up.
A soft, quick hold sounds as the white-haired man regains consciousness and reaches for the knight.
A sudden, sharp clatter sounds as the white-haired man pulls the silver helmet off the knight's head.
Startled, the red-haired knight asks why his helmet was reserved.
Chibi white-haired man mistakenly imagines the helmet as a food tray and announces how hungry he is.
A soft, quick open sounds as the knight reveals the last of their bread.
A soft, wet bite sounds as the hungry man nips at the red-haired knight's cheek.
A series of soft, rhythmic chomps sound as the man eats while the knight offers water and wonders about his expressionless face. A soft, repetitive gulp sounds as the man drinks while the knight decides to lead him to a nearby village for real food.
The red-haired knight is stunned when his companion immediately falls back into a deep sleep.
A soft, heavy lift sounds as the knight carries the sleeping man towards civilization. A tall, three-story building stands beneath a clear blue sky. A soft, quick flutter sounds as the white-haired man finally opens his eyes in a new room.
A soft, repetitive rap sounds as the shirtless red-haired man bandages his scarred back.
Turning toward the bed, the red-haired man asks if his guest is finally awake.
Startled, the white-haired man asks for the knight's identity, who reveals himself as the divine sword knight. Clenching his blanket, the man fearfully asks if the knight was sent on orders from the church. Chibi Knight explains he was there to fight the Devil King and rescued him from captivity, prompting the man to shout for him to stay back. Embarrassed, the white-haired man demands the knight put on a shirt while the knight apologizes for his appearance.
Watching the knight dress, the man concludes that the knight must be an ally if he truly opposes the corrupt church and the Devil King.
A soft, sharp bite sounds as the man recalls the church handing him over to be drained of energy.
Clenching his fist, the man worries that Ivor might be sold to the Devil King or wealthy nobles.
A historical record explains how the Sarma Church seized powers centuries ago through manipulation and the creation of sacred messengers.
A group of young men stand in line, destined for a grim fate.
The record reveals that the messengers were sacrificed to the Devil King to bolster the church's military might.
While the Devil King absorbs life force, the church leadership amasses massive wealth through bribery.
Economic hardship forced the royal family to reduce the size of their knightly order. Two figures stand in the shadows, representing the dwindling royal forces. Known for his singular devotion to martial arts, the divine sword knight remains independent of both church and crown. A soft, rhythmic wipe sounds as the white-haired man considers asking the knight to help rescue Ivor.
A grand palace glows under the starry night sky.
A soft, heavy thud sounds as the black-haired man lays Ivor down, worried by his feverish state.
Tucking his friend in, the man explains the blood's reaction to the magic stones and strictly forbids Ivor from swallowing any more gems.
The yellow-haired man tries to protest, but his companion insists the matter is non-negotiable.
The yellow-haired man blushes deeply. Startled, the chibi companion asks what is happening as Ivor tugs on his dark clothing. Ivor promises to never take magic stones secretly again, though his companion remains skeptical of his word. To prove his sincerity, the yellow-haired man vows to remain a virgin forever if he breaks his promise.
Noticing the man's blush, his companion tells him to lie back and rest since he hasn't fully recovered.
The companion is surprised to see that Ivor has already fallen into a deep sleep. Silence falls as a soft, rhythmic ba-thump sounds from the black-haired man's heart while he watches Ivor. A soft, gentle kiss sounds as the black-haired man leans down toward his sleeping companion while his heart continues to race. Ivor's eyes suddenly flutter open.
Flustered, the chibi man claims he was only trying to heal him while Ivor stares back with a blush.
Questioning the healing method, Ivor suggests that his companion should kiss a different spot instead. A soft, wet kiss sounds as the man pulls Ivor close while his clothing is taken off. A soft, quick untie sounds as the shirtless man leans over Ivor while both breathe heavily. Intimacy grows between the two men. A series of soft, airy gasps sound as the man's hand moves down while Ivor begins to tremble.
A soft, quick reach sounds as Ivor moves his hand while his companion continues to tremble with emotion.
A soft, wet splash sounds as Ivor gasps in surprise, prompting the man to quickly apologize.
The flustered black-haired man explains that dragon essence has a burning effect that only dragons can withstand.
A soft, wet lick sounds as the man cleans his hand with his tongue. Chibi Ivor notes that his hand is already healed, which his companion attributes to the restorative power of his blood and saliva.
A soft, quick pull sounds as Ivor brings the man closer, suggesting he needs more kisses to acclimate his body.
A soft, gentle kiss sounds as the yellow-haired man smiles and declares he has no fear of danger for the other's sake. A soft, quick touch sounds as the man blushes and calls Ivor a daredevil. A soft, quick lean sounds as Ivor rests against the man's shoulder and confesses his love.
In a flashback, a man presents the white-haired child of his late brother to a bishop to see if he is suitable.
A soft, heavy lift sounds as the bishop inspects the handsome boy and offers 3 gold coins for him. The boy, Eli, watches in despair as his relative thanks the bishop for the payment.
Sunlight filters through a grand cathedral.
A young Eli eats soup alone. A young yellow-haired boy watches Eli with wide, glistening eyes while drooling over the food. Eli tells the boy to get his own food, but Ivor sadly explains that he arrived late and there is nothing left. A soft, quick push sounds as Eli sighs and shares his bowl, causing Ivor to weep with gratitude. A series of soft, repetitive slurps sound as Ivor introduces himself, while Eli wonders if the boy was deceived into coming. A series of soft, repetitive chomps sound as Ivor explains the bishop promised him a better life than the orphanage.
A soft, quick put-down sounds as Eli warns him that he won't find what he wants there, despite Ivor's claims of being treated well.
Eli warns that the people in charge are not good, leading Ivor to ask why Eli would choose to stay. Eli reveals the somber truth that he was sold to the church by his own aunt. Shocked, the chibi yellow-haired boy wonders if he could have collected the money for himself if he was sold. A soft, sharp flick sounds as Eli calls him a fool, warning that they will eventually be sold to wealthy, corrupt men.
Ivor worries about his survival, while Eli notes that life might be bearable if one is not chosen as the sacred messenger.
A soft, airy blow sounds as Eli recalls his attempts to save enough money to bribe the bishop in the following years.
A silhouette shows Eli handing over his gathered gold coins to a high-ranking official.
Eli explains that he was ultimately appointed as the sacred messenger 3 years ago.
A soft, heavy close sounds as Eli describes how he was sentenced to death for defection and sent to be drained of life force. The record shows the Devil King holding the unconscious Eli as his vital energy is siphoned away. The red-haired knight condemns the church as a hellhole, noting that Eli would have remained a lifeless puppet without his timely arrival.
A soft, heavy step sounds as the knight prepares to leave with his sword in hand. A soft, quick hold sounds as Eli grabs the knight's arm and begs him to save his friend Ivor first.
Eli fears that the church has already sold Ivor to disgusting and perverted people.
A soft, quick pat sounds as the red-haired knight promises to find Elise friend immediately. The scene shifts to the interior of an expensive clothing store.
A soft, quick pickup sounds as a pink-haired man examines a bracelet while questioning its production cost.
Ivor explains his magic-assisted manufacturing process while showing off his jewelry samples.
The two men finalize a business partnership for a new high-end jewelry line.
A soft, quick shake sounds as they agree on terms, while an annoyed Talon watches from a distance. Talon regrets his decision to come and pick up the busy yellow-haired man. The dragon man complains to himself about being ignored in favor of business matters. A sudden, sharp startle sounds as Ivor finally notices Talon waiting for him in the village.
Talon sulks about being a boring dragon while Ivor giggles at his moody behavior.
A soft, quick hold sounds as Ivor hugs the dragon man's back, trying to share his vision.
A street vendor draws a crowd by offering free picture books to the townspeople. The book's cover scandalously portrays Ivor's life with the dragon as shameless and decadent.
A masked high-ranking official announces that the Devil King is currently furious.
He recounts the knight's rescue of Eli while priests acknowledge the knight's unstoppable strength. A series of soft, rhythmic steps sound as the masked man demands a better selection process. A sudden, sharp grab sounds as he aggressively complains about the lack of young, beautiful candidates.
A soft, quick takeout sounds as a nervous priest presents a new scroll for the man's inspection.
A soft, quick open sounds as the scroll reveals a stunning portrait of Ivor.
The masked man carefully studies the features of the beautiful yellow-haired candidate. The priest reveals the unfortunate news that Ivor has already escaped with the dragon. A sudden, sharp shock sounds as the masked man studies the scandalous book and decides to find Ivor. Confident in his lord's power, the man departs while the priests hope for the dragon's defeat. A crow surveys the palace grounds, noting the complete absence of magical barriers. A soft, airy sough sounds as the bird spots Ivor standing alone in a tranquil forest clearing.
A soft, quick open sounds as Ivor looks toward the sky with a sharp, focused gaze.
Ivor calls upon the dragon's black flame while secretly practicing his magic in the woods.
A loud, sudden roar sounds as Ivor activates a glowing burning spell. A soft, quick pop sounds as the spell manifests and startles the nearby bird. A sudden, sharp freeze sounds as the singed crow stops in midair from the unexpected attack. A soft, heavy thump sounds as gravity takes over and the bird falls to the grass. Ivor maintains a stern expression despite the minor success of his magical training.
A soft, heavy stand-up sounds as the masked official suddenly appears behind the yellow-haired man.
Startled, Ivor demands the stranger identify himself and tells him to stay back.
A soft, quick turnaround sounds as the man compares Ivor's beauty to the previous messenger, Eli.
Hearing his friend's name causes Ivor's expression to crumble in absolute shock. He frantically asks the masked stranger about Eli's current whereabouts and well-being.
The man remains silent, cryptically considering how to answer the desperate question.
Fear and uncertainty wash over Ivor as the mysterious man continues to watch him.
The scene returns to the quiet rooftops of the village under a clear sky.
A soft, sharp clench sounds as Eli realizes the scandalous legend of the dragon is actually true.
A soft, quick point sounds as he highlights the church's shameless attempt to discredit his friend.
A soft, quick clock sounds as passersby recognize Eli and begin to whisper about the past. A soft, quick berry sounds as the flustered white-haired man tries to hide his face. The knight steps in to block a curious villager and firmly protect Eli's privacy. The crowd continues to gossip, wondering if Eli has somehow returned from the dead. The knight realizes they need a better way to conceal Elise's identity from the public.
A soft, quick put-on sounds as the knight carefully ties a floral scarf around Eli's head.
A soft, quick nod sounds as Eli reveals his completed disguise, ready to move unnoticed. The red-haired knight smiles and prepares to lead them both toward the dragon's lair. The priest dreaming of a dragon. Talon searches the palace grounds while wondering where Ivor is gone.
A servant runs to the dragon man and reports that Lord Ivor hid a note in the hedgerow.
Talon reads the note stating Ivor was taken to the Devil Castle and questions its location. Eli and his knight arrive at the palace to ask if a dragon is present. The red-haired knight's loud yelling causes Eli to cover his ears in annoyance. A soft, heavy swoosh sounds as a massive purple dragon appears, leaving Eli in shock. In a memory, Ivor tells Eli about meeting a dragon with gold, but Eli tells him to go to sleep. Realizing the truth, Eli waves to Talon and asks to see his friend Ivor. The dragon lands and explains Ivor is at the Devil Castle before asking who they are. Furious, Eli accuses the dragon of selling Ivor to the Devil King. The dragon roars back that he is actually on his way to rescue him. The dark, gothic spires of the Devil Castle loom over the snowy landscape.
A soft, quick open sounds as a masked official welcomes Ivor, promising a comfortable life for messengers. The official explains that he can enjoy delicacies without ever having to work.
Ivor is delighted by the prospect of the perfect life he has always wanted. A soft, quick wriggle sounds as Ivor sees a messenger eating a bizarre dish and questions the quality of the food. Ivor's expression turns serious as he asks about Eli's location. A sudden wave of dizziness causes Ivor to stagger and lose his balance. The official catches him and notes that Ivor's presence will surely bring Eli back eventually.
High on a balcony, the black-haired Devil King watches the scene and notes the rarity of the situation.
The Horned Lord touches a healing wound on his neck, noting a human actually managed to injure him.
The official presents Ivor to his lord, who coldly commands that the messenger be put down. Ivor is placed onto a red sofa while he remains unconscious.
The official giggles to himself as he departs and leaves the Tulam. The Devil King stands tall in his ornate black suit.
He slowly approaches the sleeping yellow-haired man.
Ivor's magic instinctively blocks the Lord, leading him to wonder how a human can use such power.
The Devil King leans in and asks if Ivor is only pretending to be asleep. Ivor's green eye suddenly snaps open.
Ivor sits up and praises the king's perception, while the startled Lord jumps away. Ivor talks incessantly about the church's corruption and his desire for a powerful king to lead the humans. Ivor suggests they work together, but the socially anxious Lord tells him to stop talking. A soft, quick back-away sounds as the Lord demands silence from the talkative human.
A soft, sharp snap sounds as the Devil King uses his magic to quiet his guest.
Ivor is caught off guard by the sudden magical light. Ivor stands silently with a blank expression, fully under the king's control.
The Lord rubs his head in frustration, complaining about what a chatterbox the human is.
A soft, wet suck sounds as the Devil King begins siphoning life force from the mesmerized Ivor.
He pauses in surprise, questioning how Ivor possesses such a massive amount of life force.
Sensing an intrusion, the Lord turns around and demands to know who is there.
A soft, heavy swoosh sounds as a ring of fire hurtles through the throne room.
A loud, sudden boom sounds as the attack explodes against the castle walls. Talon bursts in and demands Ivor's return, leaving the Lord stunned by the dragon's arrival.
A soft, sharp clang sounds as the dragon's claw strikes a magic barrier, causing it to crack. A soft, sharp shatter sounds as the defense breaks and the Lord dodges a massive blow. A loud, sudden boom sounds as a powerful beam of light blasts through the chamber. A soft, heavy huff sounds as the dragon exhales smoke and readies another attack.
The Lord is shocked that his magic is failing as Talon prepares to breathe fire.
A loud, sudden roar sounds as a massive pillar of fire erupts from the dragon's mouth.
A soft, quick cough sounds as the Devil King staggers from the impact of the black fire.
Talon carries the unconscious yellow-haired man out of the smoke and debris.
A soft, heavy put-down sounds as Talon lowers Ivor to the ground while Eli and the knight rush to their side.
Ivor remains completely unresponsive as his pale face reflects his critical condition.
Talon glares at the enemy and demands to know what was done to his friend.
A series of soft, rhythmic steps sound as Eli explains the Devil King drained Ivor's life force and apologizes for his late arrival.
A soft, sharp gnash sounds as Talon's rage toward the Lord reaches its peak. A soft, sharp grab sounds as the Dragon Man seizes the Devil King and threatens to kill him if Ivor isn't restored.
A soft, sharp squeeze sounds as the Lord admits he has never returned life force, prompting Talon to suggest crushing him to release the energy.
Terrified and overwhelmed, the Devil King desperately promises to try and fix the damage.
A soft, airy heel sounds as the black-haired Lord grumbles about his hatred for everyone while casting a recovery spell.
Talon and the knight watch with suspicion as a singed crow suddenly flies back into the chamber.
A soft, quick pull-out sounds as the knight readies his weapon while the Devil King calls out to his servant, Claude.
The crow comments on Ivor's stunning appearance and blames his own carelessness for the Lord's injury. Claude suggests that the Lord should simply use healing magic on himself, leaving the Devil King skeptical.
A soft, airy healing sounds as a glowing green magic circle appears beside Ivor's face.
A soft, quick push-away sounds as Talon shoves the bird aside to check on Ivor's condition.
A soft, quick sob sounds as Ivor finally opens his eyes and calls out Talon's name.
A soft, quick, tight sounds as Ivor tearfully hugs the Dragon Man, fearing he would never see him again.
Startled mid-embrace, Ivor looks over Talon's shoulder and spots his friend Eli.
Eli smiles warmly at his yellow-haired friend, overjoyed by their long-awaited reunion.
A soft, quick hold tight sounds as Ivor and Eli embrace each other with tears of relief.
A soft, quick crunch sounds as the knight eats while Talon watches the reunion with a jealous expression.
A soft, wet ew sounds as the Devil King forces himself to eat a bowl of repulsive energy soup.
A soft, quick struggling sounds as the king complains about the food while Claude promises to restock his life force supply soon.
Claude sheds tears of joy because his master has finally accepted the meal he prepared. A soft, quick put-down sounds as the Lord abruptly stops eating, leaving Claude in a state of shock.
A soft, quick pop-up sounds as the king demands variety after 300 years, but Claude insists only high-quality human men are suitable candidates.
The Devil King questions the source of power behind the knight and the dragon, while Claude remains petrified.
The Lord feels devastated as he contemplates how a human knight could possess such unnatural strength. A soft, quick look-up sounds as the king asks if it is possible for him to become a mutant as well.
Claude nervously explains that mutation is a rare matter of probability and long life.
The king is frustrated that 3 centuries haven't been enough, while Claude desperately promises to find a way to satisfy him. Feeling crestfallen, the Lord sulks in a corner and expresses his fear of being wiped out by more powerful races.
A soft, sharp pluck-up courage sounds as Claude prepares to deliver a motivational speech to his master.
Claude encourages the king to leave the Devil Castle and explore the world, claiming it isn't as scary as he thinks.
The Devil King looks determined as Claude reminds him of his recent double defeat and the loss of his life force stock.
The scene shifts to the Grand Palace standing tall under a bright, clear sky.
Inside, the palace servants and messengers gossiped about the massive amount of meat the new guests might consume.
A soft, quick whisper sounds as Ivor suggests to Talon that they take in the messengers since the church has declared them dead.
A series of soft, rhythmic steps sound as Ivor asks Eli about the lack of older messengers, only to learn they are banished at age 40.
A soft, quick sit-down sounds as Ivor criticizes the church for treating messengers as commodities, while Eli notes their lack of security.
Ivor leans in and whispers that he already has a secret plan to deal with the church's corruption.
A soft, sharp upset sounds as Talon watches the 2 friends from a distance, feeling ignored.
A series of soft, rhythmic steps sound as the red-haired knight approaches Talon after finishing his sword practice.
The knight beams with a friendly smile as he addresses the dragon man.
The knight expresses his amazement at Talon's kindness toward humans compared to the scoundrels within the church.
A soft, quick reach-out sounds as the knight suggests they become friends, while Talon wonders if he is being challenged.
A loud, sudden thwack sounds as the 2 powerful men lock hands in a firm handshake. The red-haired knight laughs with joy, delighted to have officially made a new friend in the Dragon Man. Talon watches Eli and notes that the light purple-haired man doesn't seem hostile. The Dragon Man and the red-haired knight arm wrestle while Talon notes his opponent is weaker. From a balcony, Eli asks Ivor about the nature of his relationship with the Dragon Man.
Ivor blushes and admits the Dragon Man is actually very nice to him.
Eli looks serious as he warns that a human and a dragon cannot be together forever.
Eli asks if the dragon will still love Ivor when his human beauty fades with age.
Ivor chooses current happiness over future worries, despite Eli's serious warnings of eventual heartbreak.
Ivor's touch is a soft, quick, gentle sounding as he cups his friend's face to reassure him.
Ivor gives Eli a wide, bright smile to show he is truly happy.
A soft, quick pickup sounds as the princess inspects a tomato and asks for the price.
The vendor says it costs 1 copper coin, making the princess frown at the high price.
The vendor lets out a long, weary sigh as she explains the poor crop forced prices up.
A soft, quick wave sounds as the vendor rejects the girl's offer of seeds in favor of money. The vendor happily accepts a silver coin as a reward for the planting experiment the princess proposed. A soft, quick wave sounds as the princess promises to visit the field when she has time. The princess notices people distributing leaflets in the crowded square and pauses to look. The leaflets denounce the church for sacrificing messengers and demand that all of mankind be freed. The girl is stunned that anyone would have the courage to openly oppose the church. A series of soft, rhythmic steps sound as Anna runs over to identify the protesters as Ivor's servants.
Anna explains that a dragon defeated the Devil King and freed the messengers from the castle.
Realizing the church has lost its primary support, the girl asks Anna where Ivor is.
Anna gets fired up and furiously encourages Ivor and the dragon to wipe out the church.
Anna presents a map that will lead them to the dragon's castle while the princess looks surprised.
A transition reveals the golden spires of the grand structure looming over the landscape. The Grand Palace stands proudly under the bright afternoon sky. Ivor commands more guards to the gate in preparation for any potential church attack.
Eli confirms that all the messengers have been safely accommodated in the many rooms available.
Talon watches Ivor from a distance and wonders why the yellow-haired man is still working.
By candlelight, Ivor decides that reforming the Sarma church is more realistic than total eradication.
Ivor lets out a long, weary sigh as he contemplates the difficult task of appointing a new bishop.
Talon observes the man still hard at work late into the night. Talon muses that humans work hard because their lifespans are so tragically short compared to dragons.
To the dragon man, a few human decades are basically just the length of a long nap.
A series of soft, rhythmic steps sound as Talon leaves while Ivor lets out a long, weary yawn and stretch.
A soft, quick climb into sounds as Ivor gets into bed while feeling he forgot something. A soft, quick exhale sounds as he decides to leave his remaining tasks for tomorrow morning. Ivor is plagued by racing thoughts and complex math equations as he lies in the dark. A sudden, quick, wide open sounds as Ivor snaps his eyes open, unable to fall asleep. A soft, quick get-up sounds as Ivor decides something important is missing. The scene shifts to the bedroom where Talon is already sleeping. As Talon rests, a sudden, quick wriggle sounds from beneath his covers. A sudden, quick fly open sounds as Talon's eyes snap open in shock. Ivor is found curled up and sleeping soundly on the Dragon Man's bare chest.
A soft, quick rub sounds as Ivor snuggles against Talon's skin while the Lord asks what he is doing.
A soft, quick get-up sounds as Ivor looks up and admits that he missed him.
A sudden, heavy thump sounds as the Lord's heart races while wondering if Ivor is being dangerous. Talon thinks it is fine as long as Ivor avoids one spot, while Ivor notes how much better it feels to sleep beside him.
A soft, sleepy sounds as Ivor drifts off after another turnover while Talon remains frozen in shock.
Talon is left frustrated after being turned on as a soft, heavy tremble sounds during a sudden, quick kiss.
A soft, quick pant sounds as Talon begins to rub and press against his sleeping companion.
A soft, quick kiss sounds as Talon pulls Ivor into a deep embrace, leaving the yellow-haired man wondering why his companion is suddenly acting so forward. A soft, quick kiss sounds as Ivor melts into the touch, privately admitting to himself that the intimate moment feels wonderful. A series of soft, rhythmic gasps sound as the two men pull apart, both flushed and breathing heavily after their shared passion. A soft, wet lick sounds during a sudden, quick press against as the Dragon Man moves to Ivor's neck, while the yellow-haired man feels his strength fading into exhaustion. A loud, sudden snore sounds from Ivor as he falls into a deep sleep mid-embrace. Talon is visibly annoyed and insulted that Ivor managed to fall asleep during such a heated and intimate situation. A soft, quick bite sounds as Talon nipping at Ivor's shoulder to vent his frustration, while a soft, sleepy and a soft, quick tremble sound from the slumbering man. A soft, quick stare sounds as Talon watches Ivor's peaceful face with a mix of affection and irritation. A soft, quick prop sounds as Talon leans on his arm, reflecting on how Ivor spent all day seeking his attention, only to lose interest the moment they were alone. A soft, quick reach out sounds as Talon extends his hand toward his sleeping partner. A soft, quick hold tight sounds as Talon gives in and pulls Ivor into a protective, warm embrace for the night. The town remains busy and vibrant under a clear, bright morning sky. The black-haired Devil King hides his demonic features under a hood and complains to Claude about his growing hunger while they move through the city. Claude explains that while human food is inferior to his own cooking, they have no other choice, though the king is horrified by the prospect of eating something even worse. A soft, quick tremble sounds as Claude points toward a distant stall and gives the king permission to choose his own meal. The Devil King stands petrified as a chaotic crowd of hungry citizens swarms a bakery stall during a promotion event. Claude notes that the crowd was clearly too much for his master to handle and demands that the king find a way to secure food for him instead. The black-haired lord sulks in a dark alley with mushrooms growing from his head, expressing his hatred for the noise and his desire to return home. A soft, quick pat sounds as an elderly woman touches the king's shoulder and asks if he is feeling unwell. A soft, quick look back sounds as the king turns around to see the old woman standing behind him. A soft, quick recoil sounds as the king panics and frantically tells the woman not to speak to him. A soft, sharp sting sounds as the woman lets out a long, weary sigh and mocks the handsome boy for his stuttering, while a soft, quick shakehead sounds. A series of soft, quick snaps and claps sound as the king tries to ward her off with magic, but the woman simply assumes he is trying to perform a song for her. A soft, heavy rumble sounds from the king's stomach as he realizes he is too hungry to cast spells, while the old woman walks away and tells him to enjoy himself. The pink-haired princess studies a map and realizes that Ivor and Talon live quite far away, necessitating a carriage for the journey. The princess looks annoyed as she finds her maid Anna distracted and swooning over a handsome messenger in the middle of the crowded square. Resigned to her servant's distraction, the princess decides to find a coachman on her own.
A soft, quick waft sounds as the Devil King catches a mysterious and alluring fragrance as the girl passes by his hiding spot.
The king pauses in the shadows, captivated by the unique scent and wondering what its source could be.
The Lord watches the pink-haired girl walk through the streets, noting that she possesses an aura entirely different from the commoners around her.
The girl walks past a bush of blooming roses, their petals shimmering in the afternoon light.
A soft, quick stare sounds as the princess senses an intense and predatory gaze fixed on her from the dark alleyway.
A series of soft, rhythmic patter sounds as the princess breaks into a run while the Devil King pursues her with glowing red eyes. The girl is overwhelmed with terror as she realizes the mysterious stranger is still following her every move. A loud, sudden swoosh sounds followed by more soft, rhythmic patter sounds as the chase continues through the winding city streets. A soft, quick step sounds as the princess gasps in horror upon realizing she has run straight into a dead-end alley.
The Devil King corners the girl and coldly demands that she hand over what she is carrying.
The girl freezes in fear as the hooded figure looms over her in the dim light of the alley. A soft, quick sob and tremble sound as the girl tearfully explains she has no money and regrets leaving her guards behind, while a soft, quick, get closer sounds from the king. The princess cowers in fear as the stranger reaches out and seizes the brown paper bag from her hands.
A loud, sudden bam and arg sound as the girl punches the king in the face to keep him away, while a soft, wet spurt sounds. A soft, quick fall sounds as the king is knocked back by the blow, though he successfully keeps a hold on the bag of tomatoes.
The pink-haired girl stands stunned as she watches the hooded boy's reaction. The princess looks on in utter confusion as the mugger ignores her completely and begins frantically devouring the tomatoes from the bag. The girl's fear turns to relief and amusement as she realizes the boy only wanted her produce, making him seem far less dangerous than she first thought. A soft, quick tremble sounds as the Devil King looks up and wonders why the human girl isn't angry with him for stealing her food.
The nutrients from the fresh tomatoes provide the king with enough energy to cast a minor healing spell on his bruised face.
A soft, quick pass sounds as the king returns the bag and asks if the food is good, while the girl is suddenly smitten by his unexpectedly handsome features. A soft, quick nod sounds as the princess proudly admits she grew the vegetables herself, while the king pulls up his hood and admits they are better than life force. A soft, quick nod sounds as the princess eagerly offers to let him try more of her harvest, much to the king's surprise. The black-haired king is deeply moved as he reflects on her being the only person besides Claude to show him such genuine kindness.
The princess expresses that her heart is filled with achievement knowing someone truly enjoys the vegetables she grew herself.
She begins to make a request, but her words trail off as she realizes the mysterious boy has completely disappeared. A close-up reveals a distinct red mark on the yellow-haired man's neck.
Eli asks Ivor if he intends to hide his neck mark while the yellow-haired man complains about the stress of appointing a new church leader. Eli notes that Talon left the mark, prompting Ivor to decide on showing the world that the dragon is friendly to humans.
Ivor looks toward the garden, resigned to letting the public know about his bond with the dragon man. The silver-haired messenger watches his companion with a neutral and observant expression. Eli points out that the dragon has no interest in humanity at all and only possesses feelings for Ivor. Ivor asks Eli how long his relationship has lasted and who was the one responsible for initiating it.
Chibi versions show Ivor worrying that he and Talon might have skipped far too many typical relationship steps.
The yellow-haired man realizes that he cannot actually remember Talon ever explicitly stating how he felt about him.
Ivor asks Eli when he started believing in love while the silver-haired man listens with a bored expression.
Eli admits he does not believe in love but hopes the dragon stays kind to avoid trouble, leading Ivor to joke about living together forever.
A soft, quick pot sounds as Eli hits Ivor's head with a book, refusing to spend his life caring for a lazy person.
Ivor insists that he is capable of looking after his friend as well.
A series of soft, quick waves sound as Eli tells Ivor to rest while he goes to finish the discussions.
Talon approaches from the hallway and asks if the yellow-haired man is finally done with his long conversation.
A soft, quick scratch sounds as Talon explains he stayed behind to ensure Ivor does not get kidnapped again. The dragon man boasts that he is a far more reliable protector than the knight named Gino. Chibis show Talon laughing as he reveals that the knight is actually terrified of fire. Talon mocks Gino for being too lame to understand how to behave with a partner. Talon questions if intimacy would even be an issue since both the knight and his partner are human. Ivor is stunned to learn that Eli is secretly seeing the divine sword knight without his knowledge.
Talon is surprised that the information comes as such a shock to the yellow-haired man.
A series of soft, quick rustles sound as Talon sits with Gino and asks if the knight has ever held a man in his arms. Gino remembers carrying Eli, while Talon wonders if humans stay together forever after such intimate situations.
A soft, quick hum sounds as the red-haired knight admits he does not recall humans having such a custom. A flashback shows Gino heroically carrying a child through a burning village while citizens cry out to put out the fire.
Another memory reveals the young knight kindly carrying an elderly man across a flowing river.
Talon is baffled by the night's past and concludes that the man must be an unexpected playboy.
Gino warmly explains that Eli was simply the first person he ever rescued from the Devil Castle.
A soft, quick scratch sounds as Talon asks if they have been intimate, but Gino reveals they haven't done anything yet.
Talon is absolutely shocked to hear that the two have shared no physical intimacy at all.
The Dragon Man begins to wonder if the knight is completely clueless about how to proceed with a partner.
Talon tells Ivor that he doesn't think Eli will be the one to make the first move in the romance. Ivor reflects on how Eli was harassed and priced by the church because of his beauty at age 15.
The narrative explains how the refusal of the messengers made them thorns in the church's side and led to many early deaths.
Ivor remembers a tearful Eli begging him to escape and stay alive instead of following his tragic path.
Ivor acknowledges that without Talon's arrival, he never would have escaped the church or saved Eli's life.
Ivor explains that Eli despises inappropriate intentions and believes physical intimacy is unnecessary for a relationship.
The yellow-haired man looks down sadly while wishing he had the strength to be a more capable person.
An angry crowd protests outside the cathedral, demanding to know why the sacred messengers were treated so poorly. The citizens vow that their money will no longer go to the church, but only to the messengers themselves. The guards realize that without the trust of the people, the church will soon run out of funds and collapse.
A brown-haired man with animal ears reports that the devils have no reason to help the church now that the messengers have fled.
A white-haired man in religious robes is enraged that the messengers are destroying the church's reputation.
The red-eyed villain decides that while Ivor is protected, he knows exactly how to dispose of Eli.
A soft, quick tap sounds as the man produces a glowing red potion to use against the messenger. The villainous man smiles darkly while vowing to make Eli's final moments even more agonizing than before. The bishop commands the gates to be opened, declaring a mock peace offering to the sacred messengers.
Eli suspects a conspiracy as he and the other messengers discuss the church's trap while reviewing a formal letter.
The messengers eagerly volunteer for the holy water test, proudly asserting their purity. Eli stands up, determined to personally oversee the trial to prevent the church from tampering with the water.
The group claps enthusiastically, finding Eli to be incredibly reliable and well-prepared. Eli pauses in quiet reflection, wondering how he can truly verify the purity of the church's holy water.
Ivor angrily protests Eli's solo mission, insisting that his own magical abilities make him the better candidate to detect trickery.
Eli reminds Ivor that his public relationship with the dragon makes him an unconvincing candidate for a purity test. A series of soft, quick splashes sound as Eli demonstrates a protective spell that prevents any liquid from touching his skin.
Ivor's impressed as he sees Eli's hand remains perfectly dry after the demonstration.
Eli feels confident in his safety as long as Gino is there to protect him from physical threats.
Ivor begs to accompany Eli, but Talon warns him to stay behind to avoid being captured again. Eli tasks Ivor with a rescue mission to save the humans being drained of their life force in the church's basement.
Ivor looks on with resolve, accepting the responsibility of the dangerous infiltration.
As they prepare to part ways, Eli assures the knight that victory is within their reach. The two groups separate, each heading toward their respective objectives within the church grounds.
Gino observes Elise's hidden anxiety, noting that the messenger is forcing himself to face a trauma he detests.
A soft, quick grit sounds as Eli is overcome with nausea at the thought of facing the corrupt church leaders again. A soft, quick touch sounds as Gino pats Eli's head, promising to rid his world of the despicable men forever.
Eli's chibi self is mildly annoyed, thinking the knight is an overly righteous and muscular idiot for treating him like a child. A sudden, quick slap sounds as Eli reacts to Gino's gesture, prompting the knight to apologize for his clumsy comfort.
Gino offers a warm smile, promising to stay by Eli's side throughout the entire ordeal.
The trial begins in the Grand Cathedral as Eli is ordered to undress for the holy water immersion. A soft, quick drip sounds as Eli approaches the pool of shimmering water. The messenger stands before the assembly, preparing to face the public scrutiny of the church. A soft, quick takeoff sounds as Eli removes his robe to begin the trial. Gino sits in the audience, looking worried and dismissing the entire ritual as meaningless nonsense. The bishop preaches about the purity required to serve God, but Gino stands up to challenge the church's twisted logic. The bishop condescendingly dismisses the knight's argument, claiming a warrior could never understand sacred beliefs. A soft, quick waft sounds as a mysterious substance is introduced into the water while the bishop continues his lecture. Eli remains skeptical of the church's intentions, sensing that their holy trial is far from honest. The messenger's eyes widen in alarm as he realizes something strange is entering his system. A series of soft, quick ha sound as Eli struggles against the effects of a colorless gas while in the pool.
A soft, quick spread sounds as the bishop mockingly asks if Eli is unwell, ignoring the danger of the gas.
Gino leaps forward to catch the failing messenger, demanding that the rig trial be stopped immediately.
A soft, quick put-on sounds as Gino wraps Eli in a cloth while the bishop tries to force the trial to continue.
The other messengers join Gino's protest, prioritizing their friend's safety over the church's schedule.
Eli leans heavily into the knight's arms, his face flushed as the sabotaged water takes its toll.
Deep in the basement, Ivor and Talon use a detailed map Eli secretly drew during his previous captivity. Ivor reflects on how Eli distanced himself to protect his friends, choosing to shoulder the church's burdens alone.
Talon comforts Ivor, reminding him that Eli finally trusts them with the most important part of the plan.
A soft, quick scratch sounds as Talon casually admits he is only speaking the truth to cheer his companion up. The infiltration is suddenly compromised as a guard discovers the two strangers in the restricted area. A series of soft, quick patter sound as Gino carries Eli out of the cathedral, ignoring the church's offers of lodging.
A series of soft, quick haws sound as Eli deliriously begs the knight not to touch him.
Gino desperately tries to comfort the messenger, promising to get him to a doctor as quickly as possible.
A soft, quick sounds as Eli's chibi self panics, terrified that a bumpy carriage ride will be unbearable.
A loud, sudden stop-short sounds as the knight halts his run at Eli's frantic request.
A soft, quick put-down sounds as they arrive at a safe room where the other messengers prepare to bring the doctor to them.
Gino remains vigilant by the bedside while Eli cowers under the blankets, still wary of any trap the church might have set.
A sudden, quick push sounds as Eli's chibi self frantically shoves the knight away while shouting for him to stay outside until called.
Eli collapses onto the bed in distress as he realizes the church has cruelly drugged him with an aphrodisiac. The messenger clenches his jaw in pain, whispering to himself that the unnatural sensation feels absolutely awful. A soft, quick buzz sounds as the red-haired knight clutches his head, his vision blurring under the influence of the church's magic. A sudden, quick zing sounds as Gino finds himself surrounded by robed figures while a glowing purple magic circle activates on the floor. A mysterious quick appear sounds as the long-haired villain manifests before Eli, cruelly stating he wants to taste the messenger's life force during his despair.
The villain gazes at Eli with a twisted, arrogant smile while narcissistically commenting on his own handsome appearance.
Eli remembers being praised for his beauty, while a hooded figure noted that Lord Claude would be pleased with him.
The villain's dark thoughts reveal his long-standing desire to destroy the messenger and savor his delicious suffering.
A sudden, quick open sounds as two corrupt, shirtless men emerge from a trapdoor, mockingly calling out to their sweetie. A loud, sudden bam sounds as Eli strikes the headboard in fear while the two leering men approach him on the bed. Eli cries out in pure disgust, begging the approaching men not to touch him.
The air hums with a sudden, quick swoosh as a powerful fist prepares to strike the attackers.
A loud, sudden bam sounds as Gino bursts into the room and delivers a devastating punch to one of the intruders. A loud, sudden bam sounds as the knight kicks the second man away while the hidden villain wonders how he entered.
Gino stands triumphantly over the fallen men, his eyes filled with a cold, protective rage.
The long-haired villain is visibly shaken, shocked that the divine sword knight shattered his enchanting spells so effortlessly.
The defeated men revert to their true wolf forms as the villain begins to doubt if Gino is even human. The villain vanishes into the shadows, cowardly stating he never engages in a battle he cannot win. A loud, sudden sounds as the corrupt men flee in terror, begging the knight not to kill them. Gino immediately rushes to the bedside, his expression softening with worry as he looks at the suffering Eli.
Eli stares up at the knight with wide, trembling eyes.
The knight pulls the messenger into a firm, reassuring embrace while confirming his identity to the disoriented man. Gino pulls back slightly to look Eli in the eyes, desperately asking if the villains managed to harm him. Eli's face is flushed with heat as he weakly admits that they drugged him with an aphrodisiac.
A series of soft, quick haws sound as the knight immediately offers to go and find an antidote for the drug.
Eli clenches the knight's clothing in a panic, asking if he truly wants others to see him in such a vulnerable state. Gino becomes intensely flustered and blushes, unsure of how he can help his friend.
Eli looks up with tear-filled eyes and begs the knight to help him relieve the overwhelming desire.
Eli suddenly panics and tells the knight to leave so he can handle the situation alone. Gino remains by his side with a deep blush, mentioning that he has a few ideas that might help. Eli pauses and looks at the knight with a curious expression.
A soft, quick cover sounds as the knight tells Eli to lie down while he prepares to tuck him in to avoid seeing anything.
A soft, quick takeoff sounds as Gino uses his teeth to pull off his glove, preparing to assist the messenger.
A series of soft, quick hosps sound as Eli reacts to the cold sensation of the knight's fingers against his skin.
The white cloth ripples softly over the messenger's form. A moment of intense, hazy sensation fills the air.
Elise's eyes widen in sudden shock. A soft, quick sounds as Eli covers his mouth, overwhelmed by the sudden intensity of the experience. Gino's face is beet red as he focuses on helping his companion through the ordeal.
The two share a brief, incredibly awkward glance during the intimacy.
A soft, quick block sounds as Eli tells the knight not to look at him while Gino tries to maintain his composure.
Gino admits his lack of experience, explaining he will have to rely on Eli's responses to bring him relief.
Eli hides his face behind his arm in embarrassment.
Chibi Gino apologizes profusely to Eli, begging the crying messenger to stop being so upset.
Eli sits up with a look of resignation, telling the knight to just get it over with already.
A soft, quick lift sounds as Gino recalls his master's advice about confronting desires, while Eli reacts with surprise. The knight declares that he will not stop until the desire has fully subsided, warning Eli to be prepared. A soft, quick sounds as Eli panics, asking the knight exactly what he plans to do next.
A series of soft, quick haws and ahs sound as Eli directs the knight to move lower and move inside.
A soft, quick tremble sounds as Gino notices how responsive Eli is to his touch, questioning if it feels good for him.
A soft, quick shudder sounds as Eli lies limp on the bed, panting heavily while reflecting on the rough texture of the knight's calloused fingers.
A series of soft, quick haws sound as Eli's mind becomes a haze, admitting to himself that he can no longer think clearly.
A soft, quick ha sounds as Gino observes the messenger's intense sensitivity, his own breathing becoming uneven.
Gino sits on the edge of the bed and covers his face in shame, relieved that he managed to stop himself before losing control completely.
The scene shifts to a quiet moment where Eli gazes up at a vast, dark sky filled with shimmering stars.
A series of loud, sudden claps sound as Eli wakes up to find the bishop mocking him, causing the messenger to frantically ask for Gino's whereabouts.
The bishop cruelly suggests that Eli enjoyed the knight's events far too much, questioning his worthiness as a sacred messenger.
A series of soft, quick pots sound as Eli is gently awakened from what appears to have been a terrible nightmare.
Gino looks down at Eli with a worried expression, checking to see if he is finally awake.
Eli looks up with tear-filled eyes and asks the knight if it was truly him who stayed by his side the previous night.
Gino looks at the messenger with a gentle and sincere expression while confirming that he was indeed the one there.
A soft, quick sit-up sounds as Eli rises while Gino explains that he drove the intruders away and ensured they would never return.
Eli seeks final confirmation that it was the knight and not his enemies, while Gino asks if he suffered through a nightmare.
Eli's chibi self weeps, feeling disqualified from his holy role, while chibi Gino tries to reassure him that his help was innocent and shouldn't affect any ritual.
A soft, quick curl-up sounds as the messenger's feet tense in embarrassment under the covers.
Eli reflects on how he actually enjoyed the knight's touch, but feels pressured to maintain a facade of ignorance regarding such matters.
A soft, quick look-up sounds as Eli questions the church's inhuman rules and vows to change them once their group takes control.
Gino listens intently and suggests that Eli should simply live by his own personal standards rather than the church's. The messenger's eye softens as he processes the knight's supportive words.
Eli closes his eyes and offers a rare, peaceful smile, feeling comforted by Gino's presence.
Eli's chibi self looks at the knight with a curious expression and asks what he wants from him now.
Gino adopts a very serious and intense expression as he prepares to answer.
A loud, sudden boom sounds as Eli reacts with pure shock and a bright red blush to the knight's silent declaration.
A series of loud, sudden thumps sound as Chibi Eli beats Gino with a pillow, insisting it was just a massage while the knight apologizes profusely.
Back at the cathedral, the two wolves report to the bishop that messenger Eli has been defiled by the divine sword knight.
The bishop is skeptical, noting that Gino is a martial arts obsessive and believed to be a virgin.
The wolves insist they heard the encounter with their own ears. The eavesdropping wolves recall hearing Eli's protests and believe the act was completed, prompting them to return and report the scandal.
The bishop smiles wickedly, realizing he can use this information to destroy the reputations of both Eli and the knight simultaneously. The wolves demand life force as payment, claiming they are too injured from the knight's attacks to maintain their human forms.
The bishop dismissively tells the beast they can feed on 2 humans kept in the basement.
A panicked guard interrupts to report that the dragon has already liberated everyone held in the basement.
A loud, sudden pound sounds as the bishop strikes his staff in rage, cursing his guards for being unable to secure a simple basement.
The wolves growl at the bishop, warning him not to treat them like slaves and blaming his obsession with the dragon for their loss.
A sudden, quick swoosh sounds as the wolves attack the bishop, declaring they will take his life force as compensation.
The bishop sits slumped on his throne, his appearance gray and drained after the assault.
The long-haired villain stands before the weakened bishop and attempts to strike a deal with Talon and Ivor.
Talon crosses his arms and flatly rejects the offer, seeing no reason to negotiate after fighting his way to the heart of the church. The villain smiles and argues that brute force isn't enough to rule humans, suggesting the dragon could be worshipped as a new god with their help.
Ivor watches the exchange with a calm and skeptical expression.
A sudden, quick push sounds as a crowd gathers outside the doors, hearing rumors that Bishop Brell has gone mad and mythical creatures are inside.
The villain stands over the ruined bishop and tells the crowd that the man brought this ruin upon himself by exploiting demons to drain human life force.
A voice from the crowd challenges the narrative, accusing the demons of colluding with the church to harvest lives.
Ivor remains poised as the situation in the cathedral hall grows increasingly tense.
Talon reveals that over 100 people were imprisoned in the basement and credits his own actions for their freedom. Members of the crowd admire the dragon's handsome human appearance, noting he looks even better than in books.
2 former captives testified that the church routinely sends messengers as human sacrifices to be drained of their energy by demons. The villain counters by claiming the church exiled these people and that the great king of the demons actually saved them.
The villain gestures toward Eli, who has joined the assembly, and uses his healthy appearance as proof that the demons treat their captives with kindness.
The crowd begins to sympathize with the demons as they discuss how the creatures appear to be innocent victims.
Claude maintains a humble facade while claiming the church forced the demons into labor, causing them to lose their human forms and endure physical abuse.
Eli argues passionately that a life without freedom is equivalent to being among the living dead.
Her attention is taken by a sudden, quick, open eye sounding as the long-haired man listens intently.
A sudden, quick stand-up sounds as Claude questions Elise's hatred for his holy position, suggesting that Bishop Brell's drugging of the messenger was the only reason he ended up with the knight.
A shocked voice from the assembly shouts about the outrageous news that the divine sword knight has defiled the sacred messenger.
A soft, quick tremble sounds as Eli shakes in shame while Gino insults the crowd's obsession with virginity, proposing the holy water test to settle the matter once for all.
Claude dismisses the proposed trial by claiming the church uses magic to scam people and ensure they fail the holy water test.
The long-haired man stands by the clear blue water of a stone pool. A soft, quick sounds as Eli covers his mouth in disgust, realizing the church has committed even more vile acts than he initially suspected.
A series of sudden, quick steps and steps and steps sound as someone ascends the stone stairs at the cathedral.
Ivor takes Claude's hand and questions the focus on purity, arguing that integrity is not defined by one's romantic history. Chibi Ivor points out that while the bishop has no love life, he is certainly not an upright person, causing the crowd to groan in agreement.
Chibi Ivor embraces Chibi Talon and asks the crowd if they are considered bad guys, prompting the people to hail Ivor as a righteous savior.
Chibi Ivor brings Eli and Gino together, arguing that there is no issue with 2 kind and loyal people being in a relationship.
Members of the crowd whisper that they can accept the union if it involves the strongest warrior on the continent protecting them.
Claude is impressed by Ivor's manipulation of the crowd, while the blonde man suggests that Eli should take over as bishop to fix the church's toxic culture.
The Chibi crowd rallies together and cheers for Eli to take over as the new leader of the church. Eli accepts the responsibility and immediately orders the removal and sentencing of Bishop Brell for his many crimes. A series of sudden, quick claps and claps sound as Eli abolishes the messenger system and orders a trial for all corrupt clergy. The blindfolded Bishop Brell rages against Claude, claiming he only let things proceed this way because he was ordered not to interfere with the dragon. Eli decrees that the demons will be returned home and the night order will be reorganized as leaves drift through the air.
A series of sudden, quick rumbles sound as a wagon travels through the forest, escorted by Talon's large dragon wing.
Talon reflects on the church's abuse, noting that being a well-fed prisoner is no better than being the living dead.
Ivor sits atop the dragon's back and asks Talon if he plans to return to the church once the mission is complete.
A sudden, quick spread sounds as Ivor declares he will help Eli if needed, but prefers to live a life of freedom.
Talon looks back with a fierce gaze and warns Ivor that he will not be allowed to run around freely while with him.
Ivor lies down on the dragon's neck and warmly admits that being with Talon is his true definition of freedom. Talon looks down and asks if he can expect a reward in return once their current task is finished.
Ivor is surprised by the rare request, wondering what the dragon could possibly want from him.
Chibi Gino holds a small, fluffy gray cat that he rescued from the clutches of a predatory crow.
A sudden, quick hiss sounds as the cat remains wary of the knight despite his attempts to cook for it. A sudden, quick sniff sounds as the cat finally begins to trust Gino and eats the food provided for it. Gino embraces the cat happily while wishing to become even closer to his new companion in the coming year.
The fluffy gray cat sits alone and looks around with a confused expression.
The sun shines brightly over the grand stone towers and colorful flower gardens of the royal palace. The king sits on his throne and reads a letter from the new Bishop Eli regarding the church's restructuring and charitable donations.
Princess Xenia asks her father if the new bishop intends to submit to royal leadership or keep his power.
The prince notes that Elis's use of the word recognize instead of submit suggests he will keep his power, though his donation of assets is a sincere gesture.
Xenia looks at her brother with a bored expression and asks if money is the only thing he cares about.
A soft, quick cough sounds as the prince justifies his greed by noting that humans lack magic and fire-breathing abilities, necessitating money to get things done.
A series of sudden, quick coughs and cough sound as the king mentions Bishop Ellis's invitation to the royal family.
Xenia waves her hand and excitedly volunteers to go so her father can rest at home, while the prince decides to join her.
A sudden, quick pull sounds as Xenia yanks her brother's cheek, accusing him of only attending to drum up business for his industries.
A sudden, quick ow and clutch sound as the king groans in pain, asking his children to remember him to Bishop Eli.
Xenia stares flatly at her father and points out that his heart is actually on the other side of his chest.
A loud, sudden wah sounds as the Chibi King flails on the stairs, declaring his desperate desire to retire because the crown is too exhausting. The prince and princess walk away and make excuses to leave their father alone while he continues his dramatic tantrum.
Xenia happily tends to her tomato garden while reflecting on how much faster Ivor and the dragon handled the church situation than she expected.
A sudden, quick whip-around sounds as Xenia senses someone nearby while tending to her crops. Her attention is taken by a sudden, quick push-away sounding as the pink-haired woman senses something in her garden.
A chibi dark-haired man is startled while crouching among the tomato plants.
The pink-haired woman is shocked to find him there and questions what he is doing.
The dark-haired man wonders how many magic stones he should give her in exchange for all the tomatoes he took.
A sudden, quick pass and nod sound as the dark-haired man hands a small bag to the woman. A sudden, quick open sounds as the bag is revealed to be full of glowing, colorful gems. The pink-haired woman is stunned to see that the patterned stones match the ones she has been studying.
She turns to ask where he found them, but the man has already vanished.
The pink-haired woman is frustrated that he left again before she could even ask for his name. A sudden, quick rustle sounds as Ivor stands beside the large black dragon, mentioning a lost headband. A series of sudden, quick flap and flap sound as various animals and spirits gather around a wooden wagon. A sudden, quick tremble and tremble sound as the blonde-haired man questions the spirits about their exploitation of human life force.
The small brown owl explains that magic stones are much more efficient for their needs than humans.
The black dragon mocks their excuse while the blonde-haired man asks why they are still hunting humans.
The owl explains that the long-term mining of magic stones has devastated the environment and depleted their food sources. A sudden, quick sigh sounds as the gray wolf admits they turned to the church once they discovered human life force could sustain them.
The blonde-haired man realizes that the massive demand for magic stones would naturally lead to the depletion of the mountains.
A sudden, quick shake head sounds as the wolf complains that high-quality humans were rare and most captives were disappointing.
Chibi Ivor asks for their criteria for quality, learning that mental health and physical appearance affect the spirit's mood while feeding. The blonde-haired man reflects on Eli's report regarding the older messengers who were cast out of the Devil Castle.
A sudden, quick rub sounds as the black dragon nuzzles the blonde-haired man and asks if he is coming to look for gems. The blonde-haired man smiles and asks the dragon if they intend to rob the spirits of their gem piles. A sudden, quick swoosh sounds as the black dragon flies over a vast, desolate wilderness.
The blonde-haired man wonders if the land on this continent is simply unsuitable for any type of farming.
A sudden, quick pat sounds as the blonde-haired man spots a small village and directs the dragon to land there.
A sudden, quick pass sounds as a demon woman exchanges bread with a human woman, discussing the upcoming wheat harvest. The demon girl is terrified by the sudden appearance of the dragon and the blonde-haired man. A series of sudden, quick swoosh and land sound as the black dragon settles on the wooden path.
The brown-haired woman welcomes little Ivor while the demon girl flees in terror of the dragon.
The blonde-haired man is shocked to find a woman he identifies as Uncle Barrow.
Uncle Barrow offers a simple meal of fruit and sandwiches to her guests.
A sudden, quick sniff sounds as the dark-haired man eats while the woman thanks Ivor on behalf of all the messengers.
Ivor suggests she think Talon instead, noting that the enemies were like fragile ants compared to the dragon.
A series of sudden, quick takeout and tweeze sound as Ivor spits out his drink when asked about his relationship status. Chibi Ivor is mortified to learn that a book about him is a popular replica even among the devils.
A sudden, quick look around sounds as Ivor asks if the other older messengers are also living in this area.
The woman explains that some messengers returned to their hometowns while others settled down here under new names. A sudden, quick put sounds as the woman describes how they trade bread for necessities and use demon magic to help with the harvest.
Ivor is delighted that she still remembers his preference for sweet food.
A sudden, quick nyam sounds as Chibi Ivor happily eats while the dark-haired man looks on.
A sudden, quick nyam sounds as Ivor pauses, sensing a strange magical aura surrounding him. The woman notes that it is getting dark and offers them a vacant house to stay in for the night.
Ivor watches the woman and asks if she is truly the only human living in this settlement.
The woman looks back and asks if they know what immortal beings actually think of humans.
Ivor thinks about how humans view pets as easily replaceable once they pass away.
A sudden, quick pull sounds as the dark-haired man aggressively demands to know what point she is trying to make.
The woman clarifies she was referring to the former owner of the house who was favored by a devil and taken away to live with him.
The dark-haired man and blonde-haired man share a tense and contemplative silence.
The night sky shines brightly over the quiet village and its wooden windmill. Ivor lies in bed and reflects on how even Uncle Barrow seems pessimistic about his relationship with the dragon.
Ivor leans against Talon's bare back, reflecting on how Eli used to worry about their human-dragon relationship.
A sudden, quick clench sounds as Ivor clenches the sheets, feeling conflicted because he doesn't want Talon to be sad when he's gone, but fears him loving another.
Ivor looks away with a somber gaze, contemplating the inevitable end of his life.
Ivor sighs as he imagines himself aging while Talon remains eternally young and handsome, then scolds himself for not living in the moment. Talon wakes up and asks if Ivor is unable to sleep, while Ivor apologizes for waking him.
Talon lies back down and tells Ivor not to torture himself with such thoughts, promising to cherish him forever.
Talon pulls Ivor into a warm, silent embrace as they lie together in bed.
Ivor smiles gently and admits he isn't worried about being hated by the dragon. Ivor looks at Talon and wonders aloud how long the dragon will remain sad after he passes away. Several small purple creatures lie unconscious on the ornate carpet of the Devil Castle.
A series of sudden, quick claps and claps sound as Talon and Ivor realize the Devil King is missing and decide to leave a note.
Chibi Ivor and Talon decide to take 243 gems as payment for the messengers sent to the castle over the last 3 centuries.
Chibi Ivor happily collects a large pile of glowing, colorful magic stones. Ivor identifies a gem with a high-level magic circle pattern while Talon searches for the most beautiful ones.
Chibi Talon proudly shows off the beautiful gems he has selected for them to take. Ivor reminds Talon that a stone's magical power is tied to its pattern rather than its outward beauty. The scene shifts to a quiet village street lined with traditional timber-framed houses.
The hooded Devil King sits hesitantly on the grass while holding his final magical tomato. Claude rushes forward with a bag of bread and is shocked to find his king hiding in the village. Claude frantically asks the hooded man where he has been all this time.
Claude whispers about the church's fall, while the hooded man offers him a tomato as a magic replacement.
A sudden, quick snap sounds as Claude is moved to tears by the thought of the king shopping alone. Claude is stunned as he feels an immense surge of magical energy flowing through his body from the fruit.
Claude asks about the source and cost of the magical tomato, only to learn the king paid 10 magic stones for it.
A sudden, quick roar sounds as Claude screams in shock at the high price the king voluntarily paid.
A sudden, quick sniff sounds as Claude prepares to track down the human merchant by their scent.
A sudden, quick pull sounds as the king grabs Claude's hood to stop him from running off.
The hooded king looks at his subordinate and states that he wants to talk to the human instead. Claude is deeply moved that the king is finally willing to communicate with other living beings.
A sudden, quick swoosh sounds as a black crow flies over the grand stone architecture of the royal palace.
A sudden, quick whoosh sounds as the king reflects on the poverty of the royal family compared to the church.
A sudden, quick thud sounds as the pink-haired princess drops her yellow watering can in surprise.
The pink-haired woman screams in terror upon realizing that her visitor is actually a devil. A sudden, quick swoosh sounds as the crow shouts to the princess and questions her gardening methods. A sudden, quick grab sounds as the hooded man silences the shouting black car.
The pink-haired woman asks if the visitors are simply there to learn gardening techniques.
The pink-haired woman breathes a sigh of relief, deciding the devils might not be bad people after all.
The crow indignantly shouts about being a devil while the princess remains unimpressed.
The pink-haired woman asks the devils why they absorb human life force and if it is due to a lack of food.
The woman holds out a glowing purple magic stone and asks the visitor to identify its origin.
The hooded man explains the stones are rare resources from the mountains used to replenish magic.
A sudden, quick shake head sounds as the hooded man confirms that normal food cannot replenish their power.
The pink-haired woman realizes she used crushed magic stones as fertilizer to improve her tomato harvest. The woman points out that her tomatoes are the perfect magical substitute for the devils.
The crow looks around in confusion as it realizes the king is communicating directly with the human.
The pink-haired woman agrees to teach them her gardening secrets under one specific condition.
A sudden, quick let go sounds as the woman points at the hooded man and demands to know everything about him.
The pink-haired woman misinterprets his title, calling him Loseth, while the crows shout in denial.
The black-haired man decides to tell her a story as a cheaper alternative to giving away more magic stones.
The scene shifts to a grand cathedral as a narrative about events from 300 years ago begins. A young devil of high status falls in love with a human woman, eventually marrying her and having a mixed-race child, despite the intense objections of his people.
A sudden, quick sounds as the young devil king struggles to eat and grow properly while his panicked servant shouts for his majesty to hang on.
The king is consumed by dark magic while attempting to revive his wife, leaving his young son to ascend the throne amid hostile stares and insidious plots from his people.
Seth discovered that human life force could provide a quick magical boost, fueling his cold nature and intense hatred for all talking creatures, especially humans. A dramatic transition shifts the story's focus.
The pink-haired researcher's face appears comically distorted as the scene reflects how she is perceived through the judgmental and cold eyes of the Devil King. The pink-haired woman ponders the difficulty half-devils have in absorbing magic stones, while the masked subordinate screams at her to stop her nonsense and explain her tomato-growing techniques.
A sudden, quick push and slap sound as the researcher gets close to a wary Seth, explaining that fixing agricultural production will allow humans and devils to live in peace.
The pink-haired woman passionately describes how synergy between devils and humans in production could create a prosperous future for their societies.
Seth gazes at a tomato and contemplates a future where no one goes hungry, whether they are humans, devils, or half-devils.
The masked subordinate warns Seth not to be fooled by the cunning human who keeps talking about collaboration without revealing her actual planting secrets.
The researcher explains that cooperation is only possible if both sides contribute, offering her techniques in exchange for the devils providing the necessary magic stones.
Seth questions why the woman wants to know him personally, noting that her interest in him should have nothing to do with their professional agreement. The pink-haired woman admits that her personal interest in the king and their cooperation are entirely separate matters.
A chibi researcher wonders if she is being too direct while the subordinate screams for her to give up her ridiculous fantasies as a confused Seth looks on.
A lavish spread of magic stones is presented to the messengers as compensation from the Devil King, allowing them to choose any they like.
The group admires the beautiful gems, noting that even the ordinary ones among the collection could fetch an incredibly high price.
Eli picks up a sparkling blue stone, while Ivor suggests that he should simply keep the item as a decorative gem. A close-up shows the silver-haired man looking serious and determined as he clenches the valuable blue magic stone in his hand.
Gino trains a group of soldiers in the courtyard, shouting for them to stand up straight and use their arms properly while they practice with wooden swords.
The red-haired knight stops his instruction, his expression softening as he notices Eli approaching from the garden.
Gino runs toward his friend and asks if the meeting has already concluded.
Eli explains that the Devil King gave each sacred messenger a stone as compensation and offers the blue gem to Gino since he has no use for it.
The red-haired knight holds the blue magic stone up to the light, marveling at the intricate patterns visible inside the gem.
Gino worries that the stone is worth an entire fortune, but Eli dismisses the concern and tells him to just keep it.
A sudden, quick scratch sounds as the knight feels it is a waste to give such a high-quality item to someone like him. Gino has a sudden idea to turn the stone into jewelry for Eli, noting that the blue color suits the silver-haired man perfectly. A sudden, quick crack sounds as Gino uses a tool to carefully break the large magic stone into smaller pieces on his workbench.
A sudden, quick twine sounds as the knight uses his hands to begin crafting the gem fragments into a customized gift.
A sudden, quick chirp sounds as a pair of birds watches the knight from a nearby branch.
A sudden, quick ta-da sounds as Gino proudly presents a pair of handmade blue earrings. Eli is shocked and angry that the knight would break a rare, large gem into pieces just to make jewelry. A sudden, quick bam and ouch sound as the silver-haired man strikes Gino on the head in frustration.
Eli scolds him for destroying the gem's rarity, while a confused Gino argues that the total weight of the stone remains the same.
A sudden, quick swoosh sounds as Eli snatches the earrings away from the knight.
Eli yells that Gino doesn't understand value at all, while the knight asks with a puzzled look if he truly doesn't like the gift.
Privately, Eli admits that he actually likes the stone and wouldn't have given it to the knight if he had known Gino would return it as jewelry.
The silver-haired man looks into a mirror and begins trying on the blue earrings to see how they look.
Eli becomes frustrated and flustered because the hook of the handmade earring is too thick to fit into his ear.
The scene shifts to the stone storefront of an expensive clothing and accessory shop.
Eli visits the shop and asks the jeweler if the hooks on his earrings can be made much finer.
The pink-haired jeweler picks up the earring and marvels at the stunning blue topaz, questioning why such a gem was turned into earrings.
The jeweler offers to turn the gems into rings instead, but notes that he would first need to know the finger sizes.
Eli blushes deeply as he imagines a hand reaching out, suddenly realizing the romantic implications of asking for someone's finger size.
A sudden quick clap and ah sound as the chibi man screams that it is not a proposal and he has no reason to give a ring.
The jeweler asks if the gift is for someone special, and a flustered Eli coughs while requesting a pendant and brooch for a swordsman instead.
The pink-haired jeweler agrees to the request, privately concluding that they are a couple while noting that the new design will require more material.
Eli approaches the red-haired knight and hands him a small box, prompting Gino to ask what the gift is.
A sudden quick open sounds as the box reveals a pair of elegant rings set with the brilliant blue magic stones.
The lavender-haired man stands behind the red-haired man.
The lavender-haired man explains the jeweler misunderstood his request for a pendant and brooch. Chibi lavender-haired man explains how the gems had to be cut down to fit rings.
The red-haired man looks at the ring and notes it is too small.
The lavender-haired man asks for the jewelry back to have it adjusted.
The red-haired man stares down at the ring with a serious expression.
A sudden quick butt thump sounds as the red-haired man slides the ring onto the lavender-haired man's finger.
The lavender-haired man gazes at the ring with a deep blush. A sudden quick blush sounds as the lavender-haired man remains speechless and red-faced.
Chibi lavender-haired man shouts that the gift was for the other, who suggests they keep one each.
The lavender-haired man is mortified that the ring was placed on his ring finger.
Chibi red-haired man laughs and suggests turning the ring into a necklace instead.
The scene shifts to the ornate golden spires of the royal palace under a bright sky.
A series of sudden, quick pew and thump sound as the blonde-haired man collapses onto a bed.
Talon sits on the edge of the bed and reminds the man of his promise.
A sudden, quick get-up sounds as the chibi blonde man rises with a start.
A sudden quick poke sounds as the blonde-haired man asks what reward Talon desires.
Talon looks at his companion with a somber and intense yellow gaze.
The blonde-haired man pokes Talon's chin playfully while lying on the bed.
The blonde-haired man looks up curiously while they discuss the nature of their contract.
Talon leans over the blonde-haired man with a serious and focused expression.
The blonde-haired man laughs while promising to stay with Talon for the rest of his life.
Talon grits his teeth while looking down at his partner.
The blonde-haired man looks at Talon with wide, glowing yellow eyes.
Talon states that he will not force the man to do anything against his will.
The blonde-haired man looks away sadly, worrying Talon will find another after he passes away.
A sudden quick press sounds as Talon leans over him to stop the pessimistic thoughts.
A sudden quick thump sounds as Talon hovers over the blonde-haired man on the bed. The blonde-haired man insists Talon should be free to love anyone once he is gone.
Talon grits his teeth as he listens to the man's insistence on his mortality.
The blonde-haired man reaches up and pulls Talon down into a tight embrace.
The blonde-haired man hugs Talon and asks if the upcoming ritual will be painful.
Talon holds the blonde-haired man close with a conflicted look on his face.
The blonde-haired man asks Talon to be gentle during the process.
The blonde-haired man wonders why his clothes must be removed as Talon reveals sharp claws.
A sudden, quick scratch sounds as Talon uses his claw to draw blood on his own palm.
A series of sudden, quick tremble, mark, and ow sound as Talon carves a symbol into the man's back.
A sudden, quick glow sounds as the magical circle on the man's back shines brilliantly.
A series of sudden, quick and cover sound as the blonde-haired man cries out in agony. A sudden, quick fade-away sounds as Talon licks the magical mark he left on the man's skin.
A series of sudden, quick pant and ha sound as Talon explains the blood ritual extends his life.
The blonde-haired man asks if saliva can be used as a substitute for blood.
Chibi Talon worries the blonde-haired man's body will hurt regardless of the method. A sudden, quick touch sounds as Talon's hand reaches for the back of the man's neck.
The blonde-haired man blushes deeply while Talon gazes at him intensely.
Talon's hand moves down to unfasten the blonde-haired man's white garment.
A sudden, quick takeoff sounds as the couple's clothing is discarded on the floor. Talon leans in and gently kisses the side of the blonde-haired man's neck. A series of sudden, quick and kiss sound as the man admits the intimacy feels good.
A series of sudden, quick pant and ha sound as the two share a breathless, intimate moment.
Talon tells Ivor not to look as he turns him over.
Talon explains the need to prepare him, while Ivor feels a sudden quick thrill sounding.
A sudden quick spread sounds as the preparation continues.
A sudden quick shudder sounds as Ivor cries out that it hurts. Ivor trembles and gasps for breath in the heat of the moment. Talon gazes down with an intense and flushed expression.
A sudden quick tremble sounds as Talon finishes the preparation.
A series of sudden, quick lick and squeeze sound as Talon uses his saliva.
Ivor reacts with a loud shout during the intimate act.
A sudden, quick rub sounds as Talon maintains his focus.
A series of sudden, quick slap and haw sound as they share the moment. A series of sudden, quick rub and sound as Talon continues to touch him.
Ivor gasps about the heat while Talon embraces him from behind. A series of sudden, quick slap and gurgle sound as the act concludes.
A sudden, quick tremble sounds as Talon breaths heavily against the other.
Ivor cries out as a sudden, quick drip sounds. Ivor wonders about the ritual's outcome while a sudden, quick thump sounds.
Ivor tries to play it cool despite his exhaustion and sweat.
Talon looks away with an intense and somber yellow gaze. A sudden, quick rustle sounds as Talon demands another round. Ivor protests that he wants no more, but Talon insists the ritual won't work otherwise. A sudden, quick thrust sounds as they continue their intimate ritual. Ivor cries out that it's burning while a sudden, quick slap sounds.
Ivor pulls Talon close and begs for everything he has.
A sudden, quick kiss sounds as the couple shares a passionate embrace. Ivor admits the pain is gone and that it feels good now. Starry night sky over a dark landscape. Orbs of light float in the night air. A sudden, quick rustle sounds as silver-haired Eli sits in the garden. A sudden, quick rustle sounds as Gino approaches and asks why Eli is still awake. A sudden, quick thud sounds as Gino insists on guarding the new bishop.
Eli notices the ring Gino carries while the knight offers to keep watch tonight.
Eli smiles thoughtfully at the red-haired knight sitting beside him. A sudden, quick rustle sounds as Gino recalls sleeping on missions.
Eli asks about Gino's companions, only to learn the knight mostly worked alone. Gino shares how his defensive habits scared off his rookie teammates.
Chibi Gino sits alone after choosing tasks no one else wanted.
Gino admits it has been a long time since he felt safe enough to sleep.
Eli smiles warmly at the knight's honest and vulnerable confession. A sudden quick pat sounds as Eli decides to return to his room. Eli gazes back at Gino with a gentle and lingering look.
Gino watches the silver-haired man with a focused expression.
Gino blushes deeply as he lies down on a soft bed.
Gino offers to sleep on the floor, but Eli tells him to just shut up and sleep.
Chibi Eli and Gino lie in the large bed facing away from each other.
Gino looks longingly at his sword placed beside Yvette.
Eli lies awake with a quiet and contemplative expression. A sudden quick creak sounds as Eli reflects on his invitation.
Eli provides comfort before Gino decides to leave and stay outside.
Eli sighs, regretting the invitation after witnessing the knight's restless nature.
The lavender-haired man suffers through a nightmare where large, faceless men loom over him, and he recalls they were supposed to be gone. A sudden, quick scream sounds as the lavender-haired man calls out for Gino while finding himself unable to move or make a sound. Faint purple energy swirls and fades into a brave void. The lavender-haired man clings to the red-haired man in bed, begging him not to go outside and to stay with him.
The red-haired man gazes back at the lavender-haired man and promises he will not go outside, choosing instead to stay by his side.
A sudden, quick hold sounds as the red-haired man embraces the other, promising to stay even after the upcoming celebration. A series of sudden, quick talk and chatter sound as a grand celebration for the new church begins inside a magnificent, white-pillared cathedral.
Bishop Eli and Knight Gino are welcomed to the festivities on behalf of House Burton.
A pink-haired man in formal blue attire offers a toast to their joint defense of the Sarma continent.
The pink-haired man presents a golden box containing 2 glowing topaz pendants as gifts for Eli and Gino. Eli apologizes to Prince Ed for his earlier rudeness, while Gino notes that the gems in the box look remarkably familiar.
Prince Ed offers his family's clothing services for the new church, while the pink-haired woman realizes he is just fishing for more business orders.
Close-up of the ornate purple jewelry worn by the pink-haired royals. The pink-haired woman takes the stage to announce her agricultural products fair, offering vegetables grown with the help of magic stones.
A series of sudden, quick energy and ta-da sound as a maid reveals a pile of glowing red tomatoes.
A series of sudden, quick murmur and whisper sound as the crowd questions if the tomatoes will grant magic or cause side effects. A series of sudden, quick stuff, and munch sound as Ivar eats a tomato and feels magic coursing through him, while Talon struggles with the vegetables.
Talon complains that the vegetables taste awful.
The pink-haired woman explains that while only devils can eat magic stones, using stone powder and soil creates safe and strengthening crops for humans.
The pink-haired woman triumphantly holds up a glowing purple magic stone.
Eli offers to donate the magic stones given by the Devil King for research, even if it means giving away the 2 rings.
The pink-haired woman insists they keep the stones, proposing instead a deal where the devils provide stones and labor in exchange for food.
A series of sudden, quick chatter and shout sound as the crowd protests the risky idea, fearing the devils will steal human life force again.
A sudden, quick nod sounds as Ivor explains that unresolved hunger will lead the devils to invade, and Talon asks what the people are afraid of while he is present. A series of sudden, quick, stiff, and march sound as the pink-haired woman introduces Seth, a representative of the devils, who walks into the room with awkward, rigid movements.
Eli and Gino are shocked to see the Devil King at the celebration. A sudden, quick shout sounds as a voice announces they are here to negotiate. A series of sudden, quick tremble and shake sound as the pink-haired woman asks if Seth is the Devil King while his companion tries to keep him steady. A series of sudden, quick take-out and take-off sound as the black-haired man removes his hood to reveal horns and presents a formal scroll. Chibi Ivor explains that his knowledge of magic confirms the seal on the contract binds both parties and prevents the Devil King from breaking his word.
A servant brings a fresh salad to the table, but the black-haired man immediately asks where the meat is.
A series of sudden, quick nom and munch sounds as Ivor eats the fruit and notes it tastes exactly like the tomatoes grown by Princess Senia.
The servant explains he grew the fruit using seeds from the princess's garden that he purchased at the market.
Chibi servant marvels at how quickly and productively the seeds grew after he saved them from the princess's previous gift.
Ivor looks completely stunned by the news.
A second servant rushes in to report that the sheep has escaped, but the dark-haired man tells him to go catch it and stop bothering Ivor. The servant reports that a woman named Veronica caught the sheep and is asking to meet the dragon.
A sudden, quick push sounds as a hand shoves the servant aside. A red-haired woman with an eye patch appears holding a sheep and expresses her delight at finally meeting the dragon. A sudden, quick smack sounds as Ivor tries to remember where he has heard the name Veronica before. Ivor realizes with a start that the woman is the author of books about dragon weaknesses and hunting magic. A series of sudden, quick drop and stop sound as Veronica laughs and admits she is a researcher but is no match for a real dragon.
Veronica smiles and suggests they sit down to exchange the stories and answers they both desire.
A large red dragon perches on a cliffside as a narrative begins about the solitary and territorial nature of adult dragons. 2 dragons fly across a bright blue sky, illustrating how offspring must leave to find their own mountains once they can fly. A massive black claw reaches for a white egg in a hidden cave, recounting how a female dragon's egg was stolen 14 years ago. A red dragon clashes with a black dragon in mid-air, a battle that left the mother dragon searching for her lost egg until her death.
Veronica sits near the old nest, explaining that the egg hatched in Abandoned Mountain and later burned the place down before leaving.
Veronica explains her 20-year dedication to dragon research and notes that Talon is the very first live dragon she has ever encountered.
A sudden, quick ha-ha sounds as Chibi Veronica cheerfully admits that some of her books are just works of fantasy. Talon wonders if Abaddon Mountain is where he once lived with James. The black-haired man remains deep in silent thought. Ivor considers if the researcher's current story links back to Talon's past.
Veronica discusses life extension, mentioning magic as the only way to reach 300 years.
A sudden, quick flip sounds as Veronica reviews research about the former Devil King's efforts.
Ornate diagrams in the open book detail rare gems and magic.
Ivor remarks on the extreme difficulty of gathering such rare magic stones. A sudden, quick flip sounds as Talon offers his own collection or mining for more gems. Chibi Ivor is moved by the dragon's generosity, while Talon denies being stingy.
A sudden, quick rub sounds as Veronica asks to share the successful formula to help humans.
Silver-haired Eli approaches the group to find them in the middle of a discussion. A sudden, quick pass sounds as Eli hands over new agreements for magic seal verification. Ivor introduces the bishop to the researcher named Veronica.
Veronica immediately recognizes the silver-haired man as Bishop Eli. Eli is surprised to learn that the researcher knows his knight, Gino.
Chibi Veronica reveals she has looked after Gino since he was a small child.
Red-haired Gino arrives as the red-haired researcher announces she is his master. Chibi Gino asks when his master returned from her travels in the West Continent. Veronica teases the knight about his rumored relationship, leaving him flustered.
Gino admits to being rejected with a shy, blushing smile.
Chibi Eli is completely bewildered by the mention of a rejection. Eli reflects on Gino's blunt declaration and considers it a very strange way to confess.
Gino explains his total commitment to the person he wants to protect for life.
Gino confirms he has no interest in leaving his current station to hunt monsters.
Sunlight glints off the knight's collar as he speaks sincerely.
Eli looks at the knight with a soft and deeply blushing expression.
Eli quietly calls the red-haired man silly while looking wet. Eli announces the finalized contract and the upcoming partnership with House Burton.
The bishop concludes the meeting, urging the church members to get some rest.
A sudden, quick pop-up sounds as Veronica appears unexpectedly behind Eli. A sudden, quick scream sounds as Eli is caught completely off guard.
Veronica explains she is leaving tomorrow and came to bid them farewell.
A sudden, quick gesture sounds as Veronica declines Eli's offer to stay longer.
A sudden, quick glow sounds as the two sit together on the church steps.
A sudden, quick tremble sounds as Eli struggles to find a topic to discuss with an elder.
Veronica admits she once thought the knight would spend his life alone.
Eli argues that a handsome, sincere man like Gino would naturally attract many admirers.
Veronica laughs as she recalls the knight's complete lack of social grace during his youth.
Memory of young Gino mistaking a girl's love letter for a combat challenge.
Chibi Maria flees in terror as the boy pursues her for what he thinks is a duel.
A sudden, quick clank sounds as the boy works in the village to earn food.
Gino dedicates himself to mastering swordplay to hunt monsters as a career.
Veronica recalls how Gino sought strength after his hometown was destroyed.
A sudden, quick slash sounds as the knight defeats a powerful magical creature.
A map illustrates the knight's long journey across various harsh and dangerous lands.
Eli worries that the knight's current duties are a waste of his immense potential.
Veronica insists that Gino is most fulfilled when he has someone he truly wants to protect.
Eli processes the researcher's insightful words about his knight's true character. A sudden, quick stand-up sounds as Veronica prepares to visit a bookstore before leaving. A sudden, quick wink sounds as Veronica expresses joy that Gino found a home.
Eli stands up and notes that he will not stop the red-haired knight if he chooses to leave the church.
The red-haired knight waves and suggests that Eli should simply stop him as he would be happy to stay.
A quiet night sky settles over the church grounds.
A sudden, quick whoosh sounds as the silver-haired man blows out his bedside candle.
The red-haired knight quietly returns and settles into the bed beside him. Eli sleepily asks why he returned so late tonight.
Gino explains a student kept him busy training, then asks why Eli is still awake, only for the bishop to admit he cannot sleep alone.
A sudden, quick pull sounds as the silver-haired man tugs at the edge of the blanket.
The knight promises to return earlier next time to keep him company.
A sudden, quick pull and turn sound as Eli tugs the quilt and faces away, warning that winter is approaching and will get colder.
A sudden, quick pull sounds as Gino smiles and says he will find a larger quilt for them tomorrow.
A sudden, quick turn sounds as Eli rolls back to face him, blushing and insisting the current quilt is big enough. A sudden, quick whisper sounds as Eli leans in close to the knight.
The knight asks him to repeat himself while Eli begins to overheat with embarrassment.
Eli leans directly toward the knight's ear to speak.
A sudden, quick shout sounds as Eli declares that the knight can take responsibility for him.
Gino stares in stunned, blushing silence at the unexpected declaration.
The silver-haired man covers his face, lamenting his own poor choice of words for a love confession.
Gino moves closer and asks if he may love him.
Eli places a hand over the knight's face and confirms that he already gave his permission.
Gino asks if he can hold him, which only makes Chibi Eli more flustered and annoyed by the repetitive questioning.
A sudden, quick hold sounds as Gino pulls him close, despite Elis's blushing protest to be put down. A sudden, quick rub sounds as Gino embraces him, sensing Eli's doubt about the sincerity of his feelings. Eli rests against the knight's chest in quiet contemplation.
Chibi Eli recalls the researcher's story about Gino once mistaking a love letter for a challenge to a duel.
Gino defends himself, claiming he possesses more common sense now than he did as a child.
The knight asks if Eli would hate him if he did intimate things to him.
Eli looks up at him with a soft, tearful, and deeply blushing expression.
The knight leans in closer, his gaze full of affection.
Their faces draw inches apart as a heavy silence fills the room.
A sudden, quick kiss sounds as the two finally embrace.
A sudden, quick separate sounds as they pull back for a moment. A sudden, quick hug sounds as Gino celebrates the fact that Eli did not reject his kiss. Eli looks slightly disappointed and confused, wondering if a single hug is all the knight intended to do.
The scene shifts abruptly to the illuminated royal palace under a starry night sky.
The blonde-haired man sits at a grand desk, deeply engrossed in a book.
A sudden, quick turn sounds as Ivor wonders how people with dragon blood handle the lifespan disparity with their human partners.
He reflects on Veronica's advice to keep dragon secrets safe while considering if magic stones would be a more efficient solution. A sudden, quick snap sounds as a hand slams the research book shut.
Talon tells him to stop reading and go to sleep immediately. Ivor insists on finishing the last few pages before going to bed.
The dark-haired dragon stares at him with an intense and serious expression. A sudden quick cry sounds as Talon lifts him up, promising they will find a way by consulting the Devil King's library.
Talon expresses that he would rather Ivor live a normal life than sacrifice his health for longevity.
Ivor embraces the dragon, stating he just wants to stay by his side as long as possible.
Talon reassures him that he will always be there as he is set down on the bed.
A sudden quick press sounds as Talon leans over him.
Talon pulls Ivor into a deep and passionate kiss.
A sudden quick sounds as they remain locked in their intimate embrace.
A sudden quick clasp sounds as their fingers entwine tightly together.
A sudden quick tremble sounds as Talon offers his blood to his partner.
Talon promises to stay by his side forever while holding him close.
Seth worries that living for centuries without a partner would be a nightmare.
A sudden quick splash sounds as water magic absorbs into the parched earth.
A sudden quick splash sounds as magical rain nourishes the sprawling garden. The pink-haired woman is stunned by the sudden growth of the plants.
A sudden quick clap sounds as she celebrates the successful magical harvest.
The woman notes how incredibly useful magic is for their farming efforts.
A sudden quick wave sounds as she suggests accelerating the plant growth further.
Claude shouts a flat refusal at the idea of speeding up growth.
Claude explains the dangerous cost of tampering with the natural order of life.
She suggests balancing the faster plant growth with slower animal aging.
Claude argues that wasting precious magic stones for such a purpose is unthinkable.
The devils refuse to waste stones while the woman calls them cheapskates.
Seth reconsiders the suggestion and agrees that the experiment is worth trying.
A sudden quick whisper sounds as Claude argues against helping humans live longer.
Diagrams compare the short lifespans of vegetables with the longevity of fruit trees.
Narrative text explains how human technological advancements would accelerate with longer lifespans.
Seth believes combined magic and technology will eventually eliminate the need for stones.
The pink-haired woman catches the two devils whispering in secret about their plans.
A sudden quick ahem sounds as the devils prepare to leave the area.
Seth informs the group that they must return to their continent for secrets. A sudden quick whisper sounds as a crow delivers a message about limited time.
A sudden quick flap sounds as birds fly over the Grand Cathedral.
A sudden quick pass sounds as Claude delivers a sacred notebook to Seth. A sudden quick take and open sound as Seth begins reading his father's records.
Seth stares solemnly at the entries within the former king's notebook. A memory reveals his father's grief and his mother's fear of aging alone.
Seth reflects on his father's desperate and failed attempts to resurrect his mother. Claude offers comfort, noting that the human body has its natural limits. The two devils stand together in the quiet, candlelit chamber. A sudden quick close sounds as Seth discusses the torment of a forced lifespan. A guard rushes into the room to announce the dragon's sudden return. Seth and Claude react with immense shock and annoyance at the news.
Ivor sits calmly in the palace while Talon stands vigilantly beside him.
The devils demand to settle a score regarding stolen magic stones.
A sudden quick smack sounds as Talon readies himself for a physical confrontation.
A sudden quick pull sounds as Ivor restrains the dragon from attacking.
Claude continues to rant and accuse the dragon of being a bandit.
Ivor remains composed and invites the angry devils to sit and negotiate.
Ivor presents a plate of fresh pastries as a peaceful gift.
The devils are immediately tempted by the delicious-looking snacks on the table.
A sudden quick sounds as Seth prepares to sample the treat.
A sudden quick grab sounds as Claude insists on testing the food first.
Claude hungrily stuffs the pastry into his mouth without hesitation.
The masked devil is completely overwhelmed by the incredible flavor of the snack.
A sudden quick sniff sounds as Claude demands to know about the flour.
Ivor explains how the wheat was developed accidentally on the Devil continent. Seth reflects on the unsuitable farming land while he continues to eat. Claude and Talon engage in a heated argument over the longevity magic secrets.
The dark-haired man tells his partner it is useless, prompting the blonde-haired human to ask why.
Seth explains that the inevitable reality of aging leads to a significantly shortened lifespan. Chibi Claude explains that longevity magic requires sharing one's life essence, which causes the recipient to age naturally. The dark-haired dragon expresses his willingness to share his life and asks for the maximum number of years he can provide.
The blonde-haired man sits in somber contemplation as the weight of the situation settles over him.
Claude specifies a 500-year limit but warns that remaining in an aging body for that long is a heavy burden. Talon looks at Ivor with an expression of deep concern while resting a hand on his arm.
A focused view shows the dragon's protective hand gripping the blonde man's sleeve.
Ivor asks Claude about his age, causing the masked man to react indignantly about his long tenure as a servant to kings. The blonde man turns his attention toward the mystery of reincarnated souls.
Claude details how it takes a millennium for a soul to return as intelligent life, often passing through animal forms first.
The dragon's yellow eye reflects his internal reaction to the news of the long reincarnation cycle. Ivor agrees to stay for 5 centuries, but asks to be let go if the experience of aging becomes unbearable. Talon gazes downward in heavy silence as he processes the conditions of their shared future. A sudden quick pat sounds as Ivor embraces the dragon and suggests that a magical breakthrough might one day solve their problem. Seth watches the couple's intimacy and wishes his own parents could have experienced such a connection. The pink-haired woman is thrilled by the possibility of using magic to accelerate plant growth and slow animal aging. Seth considers a new research path where the cost of aging is transferred entirely to plant life.
The devil suggests they look into this alternative while the couple continues their long embrace.
Talon looks at Seth with wide, urgent eyes, asking if there is truly a way to extend life without the pain of aging.
Seth admits he can attempt the research, but clarifies that he cannot guarantee a successful outcome.
Chibi Talon promises his entire treasure collection in exchange for a solution, much to the devil's annoyance.
The blonde man asks the resident of the windmill if they may stay for the night and receives a warm welcome.
Ivor speaks with the brown-haired woman about the dragon's care for him while they enjoy rare treats.
A sudden, quick hold sounds as the two partners lock their fingers together in a firm grip. Talon expresses confidence in their future happiness and mentions their ongoing experiments with life-sharing magic. The resident looks away with a troubled expression, thinking that some people's joy is achieved through the pain of others. She thinks bitterly about the devil's obsession with beauty and his history of draining magic from his kin. The peaceful windmill stands against a backdrop of snow-capped mountains as night falls over the fields. A sudden, quick make-bed sounds as Talon pulls back the covers to prepare a place for Ivor to rest. The blonde man expresses his reservations about the high cost required to maintain a youthful form.
Talon tells him to sit down and begins to share the story of James, the first human he ever knew. A flashback reveals the elderly James caring for the young, purple-winged dragon as if he were his own son. The dragon fondly remembers the warmth of the old man's hand during a gentle head pat. The creature recalls the somber day he saw James buried and realized the heartbreaking brevity of human existence.
Subsequent attempts to find kindness among other humans resulted in cruelty and violent rejection. The dragon reflects on how he once used a weak human boy to pass the time, intrigued by his bold plan to acquire gold. He contrasts those memories with the joy and sense of belonging he found with the blonde-haired man he now loves. Talon looks at his partner with a gaze filled with deep and sincere affection. The blonde man offers a soft and loving expression as they share a quiet moment together.
A sudden, quick snap sounds as the dragon affectionately pinches his partner's cheeks.
A sudden, quick rub sounds as Ivor strokes the dragon's hand, thanking the old man for keeping him compassionate toward humanity. The blonde man vows to master magic and find a way for them to share their lives without causing harm. A sudden, quick wipe and cover sound as Talon dries his partner's tears and tucks him into bed. Talon playfully suggests that Ivor find a new dragon companion after his current life ends. A sudden, quick pull sounds as Talon jokingly threatens to bite him if he doesn't promise to wait for him. The scene shifts outside to the dark silhouette of the windmill under the night sky. Eli lies in bed with his knight, privately wondering if their intimacy will ever progress beyond hugs and kisses.
The silver-haired man asks the red-haired knight if he has ever read the picture book created by Ivor.
Gino answers that he is not and asks for the reason behind the sudden inquiry.
Eli looks down with her quiet and thoughtful expression.
Gino offers to find the book while Eli shouts that he does not have to read it right away. A sudden, quick rummage sounds as Gino searches the shelves before Eli points him to the drawer. A simple lantern on the table casts a warm, soft glow across the room. Gino begins to read the picture book while Eli suggests he wait until tomorrow morning. Gino wants to finish the book now to have more to discuss, causing Eli to blush and lie down. A sudden, quick chirp sounds as birds perch on a branch during the early morning hours. Eli wakes up and opens his eyes as the morning light fills the bedroom. Eli wonders why his partner is still sleeping past his usual wake-up time.
A sudden, quick rustle sounds as Gino pulls the silver-haired man into a snug embrace.
A sudden, quick push sounds as Gino holds Eli tightly against his body. A sudden, quick flutter sounds as Gino opens his eyes and gazes intensely at his partner. A sudden, quick kiss sounds as Gino initiates a passionate morning encounter. The two men share a deep and intimate kiss as they lie together. A sudden, quick thumping sounds as Gino moves to kiss Eli's neck and chest.
Gino confesses a primal desire for Eli, who reacts with an expression of pure shock.
The red-haired knight's hand rests firmly on Eli's torso as the atmosphere heats up. A sudden, quick peel sounds as Eli mentions the time while Gino continues his advances. Eli wonders why Gino is ignoring his words as the knight keeps exploring his skin.
Gino tells Eli how cute he is while looking at him with a dazed and loving expression. A speech bubble indicates that Eli finds the current sensation to be quite itchy.
A sudden, quick shudder sounds as Eli pleads for his partner to wait and stop.
A sudden, quick tremble sounds as Eli feels an intense burning sensation from Gino's tongue.
A sudden, quick lick sounds as Gino continues his intimate exploration of Eli's body.
A sudden, quick suck sounds as Gino focuses his attention lower despite Eli's protests.
The silver-haired man trembles from the intense sensations as the intimacy between them grows.
Eli reflects on the feeling of his partner's large and rough hands rubbing against him.
Eli admits that the pleasure is so great he cannot help wiggling his hips.
Eli wonders about the sudden heat as the encounter reaches a fever pitch. A sudden, quick shudder sounds as Eli's body reacts to an overwhelming peak of pleasure.
A sudden, quick spurt sounds as the red-haired knight finishes on his own hand.
A shocked Eli urgently tells Gino to spit out the fluid he just took.
A sudden, quick swallow sounds as Gino consumes the evidence of their shared intimacy.
A sudden, quick rip sounds as Eli asks in disbelief why his partner swallowed it.
A sudden, quick ha sounds as Gino looks up with a flushed and intense gaze.
Eli stares back at the knight, looking completely breathless and dazed.
Eli tells the red-haired man that he needs to strip off his own clothes now. Gino looks back at Eli with a look of pure intensity and readiness.
A sudden, quick peel sounds as Gino finally removes his shirt and tosses it away.
Their discarded clothing hangs haphazardly over the bedpost as things escalate further.
The two men are pressed together, their skin slick with sweat as their passion grows.
A sudden, quick tremble sounds as Eli expresses his fear regarding Gino's size. A sudden, quick stretch sounds as Eli protests that he is not yet ready for entry. A sudden, quick slap sounds as Eli cries out while Gino begins to thrust into him. A sudden, quick slap sounds as Eli tells Gino that it is enough and to stop.
Eli pleads for his partner to say something to him as they are locked in their embrace.
A sudden, quick lift sounds as Gino promises that he wants Eli to have everything he has. A sudden, quick scratch sounds as Eli digs his nails into Gino's back from the intensity.
Eli tells the red-haired man to slow down while they cling tightly to each other.
A sudden, quick drip sounds as the scene closes on their shared and heated passion.
The red-haired knight continues his intense and passionate encounter with his partner.
A sudden, quick pop sounds as their physical intimacy reaches a new depth.
A sudden, quick ha sounds as the two men catch their breath during a brief pause.
Gino professes his overwhelming love and calls Eli cute, though the silver-haired man tells him to stop. Eli looks up with a flushed and dazed expression, softly calling out his partner's name. A sudden, quick fall sounds as Eli tells his partner not to sleep because they need to bathe before his meeting. The red-haired knight offers a gentle morning greeting to his exhausted and bleary-eyed partner.
Eli reacts with comic irritation, deciding to handle his own morning preparations after the tiring night.
A sudden, quick sounds as the silver-haired man reacts to an unexpected internal sensation. A sudden, quick tremble sounds as Eli realizes that something is dripping down his legs. A sudden, quick gurgle and drip sound as the scene focuses on the aftermath of their intimacy. Gino gazes at his partner with a look of intense longing and quiet contemplation.
The silver-haired man scolds the knight for his boldness while Gino wonders if he was sleepwalking.
A sudden, quick pull sounds as the knight apologizes profusely and offers to let Eli punish him. Gino admits he thought it was a dream while Eli insists on getting used to the experience. The silver-haired man pulls his blue robe tighter as they prepare to move from the bed. The red-haired knight is stunned by the realization that Eli wants to continue their physical relationship. A sudden, quick rub sounds as Gino happily celebrates the news while Eli grumbles about his partner's simple nature. A sudden, quick splash sounds as a warm bath is prepared for the couple in the elegant washroom.
A sudden, quick pant sounds as the silver-haired man relaxes into the water to soothe his body.
A sudden, quick gurgle sounds as Gino tenderly assists in cleaning his partner's body. A sudden, quick drip sounds as Eli reacts to the intimate and thorough cleanup process.
Gino asks if his partner feels better now that he is clean inside, receiving a quiet hum in response.
The two men share a quiet moment of recovery as they sit together in the steaming water. A sudden, quick splash sounds as Gino hugs Eli and vows to stay by his side forever. The knight asks if staying in such a quiet place feels like a waste, surprising his partner.
Gino reflects on how lucky he feels to finally have a home after so much time spent wandering. A flashback reveals a lonely child Gino eating alone in an empty and dimly lit house.
The young man remembers visiting his ruined birthplace, which had been scorched by devils. Back in the bath, Gino holds Eli protectively as they find comfort in their shared presence.
Eli reflects on how the word home had become a distant and unfamiliar concept to him.
A memory shows a young Eli praying fervently that his father would never leave him.
The silver-haired man recalls his time at the church where he secretly mapped out an escape route.
He reflects on how his position as archbishop was merely a mask he wore for work. Even at the height of his power, Eli felt isolated and detached from the world around him. He thinks about the miracle of finding someone he can trust with his body and soul.
The couple shares a peaceful silence in the tub, grateful for the bond they have formed.
A sudden, quick kiss sounds as Eli shows his affection, feeling all his worries vanish.
A sudden, quick cover sounds as Chibijino reacts with pure joy to the unexpected kiss. Eli reminds his partner that they must finish the bath quickly so he can return to his duties. A sudden, quick hiss sounds as the silver-haired man asks if the scratches on the knight's back are painful.
Gino playfully suggests that another kiss would be the only way to heal his wounds.
The knight privately considers taking the rest of the day off following their long night together.
A sudden quick drip sounds as the scene shifts to the blonde-haired man.
A sudden quick absorb sounds as a drop of blood on Ivor's cheek is mysteriously drawn away.
A sudden quick sit-up hastily sounds as the blonde man questions Talon's sudden and strange behavior. A sudden quick put into and sound as the dragon initiates a magical transfer of fluids. Talon notes that Ivor's body is finally capable of absorbing his dragon essence without any pain. The blonde man smiles warmly and suggests that they should attempt the process again.
The dragon looks away with a faint blush, stunned by his partner's eagerness for more.
A sudden quick lift sounds as the black-haired man scoops his partner into a firm embrace. Talon and Ivor share a tender gaze amidst a backdrop of soft pink flowers.
The couple is suddenly interrupted by the unexpected arrival of the brown-haired woman in their bedroom.
A sudden, quick jump out of bed sounds as a blushing Chibi Ivor reacts to the intrusion.
Ivor takes a book from the woman titled How to Eat Dragons After Killing Them.
A memory shows a younger Veronica inquiring about her book's release from a robed man.
The brown-haired woman recalls meeting Veronica years ago when she already appeared middle-aged.
A sudden quick pot sounds as Ivor realizes they must find Veronica before she leaves the continent.
The scene shifts to a sunlit palace garden where Talon and Ivor confront a seated Veronica.
The blonde-haired man asks the traveler if she possesses devil blood or is a century old.
Veronica holds her fork steady as she prepares to answer the blunt question.
A sudden quick put-down sounds as the red-haired woman scolds Ivor for asking about her age.
She explains that while dragon fluids extend human life, they carry a heavy burden for the recipient.
A sudden quick open eyes sounds as the traveler reveals a gaze reflecting her long journey.
The blonde-haired man is shocked to learn that the woman has previously consumed dragon's blood.
A sudden quick stir sounds as a silver spoon swirls through a cup of deep red liquid.
Veronica recalls discovering magic stones containing dragon essence nearly 80 years ago during her travels.
Ivor quietly wonders if the blood the woman consumed belonged to Talon's mother.
A sudden, quick examine sounds as Veronica explains the toll of her youth while Talon touches Ivor.
The red-haired woman laughs about her trade as Chibi Talon covers his partner's mouth.
Ivor gazes at his partner and admits he truly cannot live without him.
A sudden, quick lift sounds as the dragon picks up the blonde man to head inside.
A sudden, quick step sounds as Talon walks away while Veronica shouts about the volcano.
The scene transitions to the grand and quiet halls of the White Palace.
Veronica asks a knight about Eli's whereabouts and learns that both he and Gino are off.
A sudden, quick scratch sounds as the woman wonders if the two are out on a date. The traveler bursts into a room and playfully calls the red-haired knight a brat.
Gino explains he is staying behind to care for the silver-haired man who feels unwell. Veronica questions his medical skills, but the knight insists he is responsible for his partner's condition. A sudden, quick sounds as the traveler realizes the intimate nature of the situation.
The flustered woman quickly decides to leave the two men alone to their private recovery.
Veronica suggests hiring the red-haired man as a lecturer to bridge the gap between races.
Gino declines the offer while the woman encourages him to stay for a few more years.
A sudden, quick tee-hee sounds as Veronica teases him about a lab for unconventional magical studies.
A magical diagram reveals that 9 rare stones are the foundation for life-sharing spells.
Chibi illustrations show how the magic extends a human life without stopping the natural aging process.
A pink-haired woman describes a breakthrough in swapping microscopic components between different species.
The Devil King and the researcher discuss utilizing the magic for accelerated breeding purposes.
A sudden, quick scratch sounds as the king begins preparing the stones for the smelting process. The pink-haired woman smiles warmly at how much more talkative her partner has become lately.
A crow watches the couple, hoping the magic will allow the dragon and human to stay together.
A sudden, quick-moved sound as the familiar feels certain the king's power will impress his critics.
A sudden, quick rustle sounds as Eli and Ivor discuss the complexities of life-extending magic.
The blonde-haired man explains he will endure the eventual pain to avoid leaving Talon alone.
A
A sudden, quick pat sounds as Eli notes how love has a way of taming even the free.
Ivor looks up in surprise at the profound insight shared by his silver-haired friend.
Eli smiles gently and explains that belief is the key to truly enjoying one's life.
Chibi Ivor asks his friend if he and Gino have officially become a couple.
The silver-haired man blushes as he confirms he accepted the knight's sincere confession of love. Chibi Ivor is dazzled by the story, noting that Talon has never given him such a confession.
A chibi Eli insists that a certain matter is actually very important. The blonde-haired man admits that his partner's actions prove his love beyond any words.
The silver-haired man notes that Talon provides Ivor with a deep sense of security.
The two men look around curiously as they observe the courtyard from the balcony. Ivor whispers a question about whether the red-haired knight is truly inexperienced in intimate matters.
Eli explains that the knight learned everything from Ivor's book, leaving the blonde man completely stunned.
Ivor laughs at the idea of his book being a guide, while Eli tells him to be quiet.
The silver-haired man leaves for a scheduled speech while Ivor waves him a cheerful goodbye. A sudden, quick swoosh sounds as a massive shadow passes over the balcony railing. A sudden, quick land and whoosh sound as Talon arrives in his human form.
Ivor looks at the black-haired man in surprise and asks what brings him there so suddenly.
Talon presents a pouch of stones, explaining that their patterns match the research they are following.
A sudden, quick snap and jump sound as the dragon scolds his partner for being out late.
Ivor opens the pouch and finds a gem that looks exactly like the one they need.
The blonde man realizes he is holding a rare stone with the power to change one's gender.
A sudden, quick snatch sounds as Talon reaches out to take the gem back. A sudden, quick throw sounds as the dragon tosses the rare stone away despite Ivor's protests. A sudden, quick swoosh sounds as the purple gem disappears into the distance.
Veronica gives a lecture to a crowd about the hierarchy and exploitation within Devil Society.
A sudden, quick snap sounds as the thrown stone hits a man in the audience.
The man is impressed by the beautiful stone, which immediately catches the speaker's attention.
Veronica identifies the rare magic stone and asks the audience to bring any others to her.
A sudden, quick roar sounds as the red-haired woman warns about the dangers of villains finding the stones.
A sudden, quick hee-hee sounds as Veronica privately gloats about her lucky and valuable find.
Ivor's book features an illustrated romantic story between characters named Ivoret and Lonmayo.
A sudden, quick kiss sounds in the fictional story being drawn on the pages. A sudden, quick hee-hee sounds as Ivor enjoys working on his latest illustrated tale. A sudden, quick cover sounds as Ivor hides his drawings from an approaching Talon.
A sudden, quick sounds as Ivor stretches and explains he wants to make the most of his time.
A sudden, quick scoop up and oh sound as the dragon lifts his partner into his arms. A sudden, quick put down sounds as Ivor worries about the high cost of his life-extending treatments. The blonde man frets that 1,000 years of treasure is being spent on his short life. A sudden, quick pinch sounds as Talon playfully silences his partner's pessimistic thoughts.
A sudden, quick lie down sounds as Talon explains he only collected gems to fill a lonely house.
A memory depicts Talon's past life as a solitary dragon resting in a vast and empty hall.
Narration suggests that memories and emotions fill an empty soul better than any tangible gold.
The two men share a moment of intense and heated passion in the privacy of the bedroom.
Talon gazes at a portrait of a smiling Ivor, vowing to keep their memories safe.
Ivor hugs his partner tightly, expressing a desire to create a lifetime of new experiences. The blonde man promises to record every precious moment in his books so they are never forgotten.
Talon looks down at his partner with an expression of deep and silent adoration. The black-haired man tells Ivor that he must live longer and initiates a magical transfer.
Ivor admits that he feels like a predator taking everything good away from his partner.
The blonde man focuses on absorbing the essence needed to sustain his fragile human body.
Ivor reflects on how gently the powerful dragon moves when they are together.
He thinks about how his body has grown much stronger thanks to his partner's fluids. The blonde man looks up with a flushed and dazed expression of pure contentment. Talon gazes back at him with an intense look of longing and protective love. The dragon begins to whisper sweet and loving words to his partner, just like a human. The couple remains locked in a tender and intimate embrace as the night continues.
The blonde-haired man is held closely by his partner as they enjoy a quiet moment of physical connection.
Surrounded by vibrant flowers, Ivor and Talon realize that they have truly tamed one another's hearts.
The clear blue sky and rustling leaves mark a peaceful transition in their journey together.
The horned Devil King stares at a lavish spread of human desserts, marveling at the complexity of their culture. The black-haired man expresses shock at the vast array of food options available to the human world.
The group discusses the impressive magical breakthroughs the Devil King has achieved regarding cross-species component swapping.
Talon observes the king during their meal, cautioning that his magic still requires further refinement before it can safely aid humans.
Ivor hands over a gift book meant to express his gratitude for the king's dedication and hospitality.
The Devil King investigates the romantic illustrations, while Ivor describes his plan to bridge the gap between their societies.
A sudden, quick caw sounds as the panicked crow begs the king to stop reading the human's provocative story.
The bird shouts about protecting the king's innocence from the corrupting influence of the blonde man's literature.
A sudden, quick wah sounds as the black-haired man is overwhelmed by his familiar's frantic attempt to snatch the book away.
A sudden, quick swoosh sounds as Ivor waves a final goodbye while riding Talon in his majestic dragon form.
Soaring high above the mountain peaks, the dragon asks his partner where their next destination should be.
After Ivor leaves the choice to him, Talon turns toward the horizon and decides it is finally time to go home.